When you go by Soldier of God, you hold yourself to a higher standard and sense of purpose. For Joelle Romero, that mindset drove him to become a 3-time World Cup wrestling champion, an Olympic silver medalist, and a reputation as one of the most explosive and dangerous mixed martial artists.
I never been bigger, faster, and stronger. Nobody can stop me.
When you're known as Mr. Wonderful,
that's my tagline.
You exude charm, charisma,
You know.
and an abundance of confidence.
If I get 2 hands on your wrist, I'm breaking it.
For Phil Davis, that combination propelled him to become an NCAA Division I National Wrestling Champion and a Bellator Light Heavyweight World Champion.
Mr. Wonderful!
Bellator MMA is home to some of the best 205-pound fighters. And tonight, the light heavyweight spotlight shines bright on these 2 warriors. The Soldier of God, Joelle Romero, goes to battle in the Bellator cage for the first time, looking to stake his claim amongst the division's elite.
Soldier of God is here, right here.
But Mr. Wonderful Phil Davis is set on giving Romero a not-so-warm welcome and reestablish himself as a championship contender.
Hey, I'm coming back for my belt.
The SAP Center in San Jose, California is one of the cathedrals of mixed martial arts, having played host to many memorable MMA matches. And we welcome you inside the house that Frank the Legend Shamrock built, where everyone is buzzing due to one of the most anticipated debuts in Bellator MMA history. The stakes in tonight's main event are high because Davis versus Romero could be a gateway to the belt following the Grand Prix. Hello and welcome to Bellator 266 here in the 408. I'm Mauro Ranallo. Tonight we welcome a familiar face to a new place. Joelle Romero is built like a Greek god, and speaking of Greek, tonight marks the alpha of his Bellator MMA journey, and he's intent on proving that he is the alpha male in the loaded light heavyweight division. 11 of his 13 victories have come courtesy of fire hose blasts of brutality, including 2 flying knee knockouts of Clifford Starks and Chris Weidman, one of 4 former champions Romero has conquered. Tonight against Davis, he hopes to make it number 5. And when it comes to Mr. Wonderful, I want to paraphrase one of the dearly departed Bay Area bar spitter Shock G's lyrics. Stop what you're doing, because Davis says he's about to ruin Romero's first foray in Bellator MMA and improve to 5-0 here at the Shark Tank. Time to bring in the great white shark of analysts, Big John McCarthy. And John, when you and I have talked about tonight's main event, you say it's all about the great unknown.
It is about the unknown, because you're taking a look at Joelle Romero, a guy who's 44 years of age, a guy who has been out for over 18 months, a guy who had an eye injury, a guy who is now moving up in weight class, which I think is a great thing. From 185 to 205, he was killing himself making that weight, and I think it affected his performances. So when you're looking at him now, look at how he looks. He looks good. He's happy. When you talk to him, he's not killing himself, and I think it will make a difference in his performance. Now, on the other side, you're looking at Mr. Wonderful, Phil Davis, a guy who needs to be motivated. We've seen that. and he is motivated with this fight. He's got incredible wrestling. He's got incredible talent. His length, the way he can fight, he's never been stopped in a fight. He is special. Is Romero the guy that gets him motivated enough for that breakthrough performance?
Well, we know that up until this point, the former Bellator MMA light heavyweight champion, Phil Davis, had never met anyone whose wrestling credentials superseded his until tonight. He faces a two-time Olympian and Olympic silver medalist in Joelle Romero. That's tonight's compelling feature attraction. But here at the home of the NHL San Jose Sharks, we are going to bring you 4 more face-offs. Former Bellator welterweight title challenger Naaman Gracie looks to bounce back from the second setback of his career when he collides with Mark Leminger, who faces the toughest exam of his career. Number 5 ranked flyweight and former title challenger Alejandra Lara duels with Deanna "Vitamin D" Bennett, a huge hockey fan and player who is living out her dream of competing in this rink. In what could be the fight of the night, both Georgie Karahanyan and Saul Rogers say they have a new lease on life after moving up to 155. Bellator 266 is bookended by 205 action. The undefeated number 8 ranked contender Christian Edwards and the man who shares the same nickname as two-time Super Bowl winning coach Bill Parcells and Chicago gangster Tony Accardo, Ben Big Tuna Parrish, are ready to get it on.
And now, tonight's first fighter making his way, Ben Big Tuna Parrish.
The opportunity of a lifetime. Ben Big Tuna Parrish has been waiting for the bright lights of Bellator for a while. He won the first 4 of 5 professional fights, but I gotta say, no matter how big the tuna, when you jump into the Shark Tank, the odds are against you. And, well, he faces astronomical odds against one of the rising stars in the light heavyweight division.
Well, you're right as far as, it looks like he is the underdog, but he's 4-1. His one loss, Morrow, was when he broke his leg, a la an Anderson Silva, Chris Weidman, or one that we were there for, Jose Pele Landy Johns. That's his only loss. He has been very good on the ground. He has got heavy hips. He gets good submissions. The guy can fight.
And now, his opponent, Christian Payne Edwards.
Just 22 years of age, he earned the inaugural scholarship to one of the most respected camps in all of MMA, Jackson Wink MMA in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And yes, he spent a lot of time with one of the greatest ever in John Bones Jones. You can see some similarities in certain techniques, but you don't want to be the next anyone. You want to be the first you. And Christian Edwards has been in a feeding frenzy as he comes to the Shark Tank, showing off his athleticism as he sticks the landing of the entrance. He is 5-0 with 2 knockouts and 1 rear naked choke.
You just said entering in like John Jones with the cartwheel, but Christian Edwards is the real deal as far as a fighter. He's good everywhere. He's got good power. He's got very good ground. He's a good wrestler. He's got good takedown defense. He's dangerous everywhere, and the best part about him is how smart he is as a fighter at a young age. That's what makes him very dangerous for everyone that goes in there. He's able to adapt, able to change. Here again, Simon Bianco, very tough opponent, got a big win, showed exactly how smart he is as a very young fighter. Our tail of tape for this light heavyweight matchup, 78.5 in reach for Christian Edwards, 73 for Ben Parrish, but that really doesn't matter for Ben because he wants to get this fight to the ground and utilize his ground game.
Here is Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Bellator MMA. Tonight, we're back at SAP Center in San Jose, California, as Bellator 266 is set to begin now, live on Showtime with 3 5-minute rounds in the light heavyweight division. Introducing first, the blue corner. At 6 foot, weighing in 205.6 pounds. His professional record: 4 wins, 1 loss. From Pontotoc, Mississippi, Ben Big Tuna Parrish. And across the cage, his adversary, fighting out of the red corner. At 6'5", weighing in 204.3 pounds. Undefeated as a professional. 5 victories, no defeats. Fighting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, Christian Payne Edwards. In charge of the action, your referee, Jason Herzog.
According to the odds, this is a David versus Goliath matchup, with David being the undefeated Christian Edwards, but Ben Parrish, his slingshot is loaded with submissions. 4 wins, all 4 via sub, and the bell, round 1. Edwards in the red gloves, Parrish in the blue. Front kick to the midsection oblique kick, and a 1-2 by Edwards, off to a fast start.
Nice use of the oblique kick to get Ben Parrish off balance, but you saw Ben just shrug it off, come after Christian, and start the exchange.
Southpaw. Parrish just landed. He's on the left hand. Mamma mia! Ben Parrish has shocked the world.
Don't ever doubt me again. Don't you ever bully somebody.
This is what I was saying when we were talking about Ben Parrish. Look, the only loss was that break of his leg. The guy can fight.
The big tuna just landed a big fish, knocking Christian Edwards from the ranks of the undefeated. And San Jose is electrified by the punch heard round the Shark
Don't you
Tank.
ever put a weak receiver like Crabtree on me.
Let's take a look at what happens, because they had several exchanges in here, but there's one shot that changed the course of the evening here. Christian Edwards lands nice straight right hand. Watch this left hand. Boom! It lands clean. Christian is stunned going down. He tries to hold on, but that hammer fist lands again. Watch the left hand.
From the southpaw stance, when Edwards switched, it put him in harm's way.
Absolutely. Got his chin up close. That Ben Parrish sees the opportunity, lands hammer fist. That's why you never count someone out. You look and say, can the guy fight? We looked and said, yeah, he can fight. He's tough. He's got a great ground game. But you see the power of Ben Parrish, the big tuna.
That's it.
Pulls it out.
Hey, no, neck and kick. That's it. You better. Come on.
Tupelo Jiu-Jitsu Academy, stand up and cheer. Ben Parrish used to weigh 310 pounds before he started fighting. He said if it weren't for MMA, he probably wouldn't be here. Well, tonight, he dropped 205 pounds worth of Christian Edwards. The theater of the unexpected, and Christian Edwards stunned in more ways than one. 28-year-old Ben Parrish coming off a loss to Logan Woods after, well, breaking his leg in November of 2019. Realized how big an opportunity this was. And boy, did Ben Parrish make the most of that opportunity here tonight. What a way to get things started. I mentioned this being a cathedral of combat sports. What a moment for Ben Parrish. Let's make it official with Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the Bellator cage, it comes to an end. 38 seconds into round number 1. The winner by knockout, Ben Big Tuna Parrish.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with your winner in stunning fashion. Big knockout, Ben Parrish. Tell me how it feels right now.
It feels good to shut a lot of people up, man. That's all I'm going to say.
You came in this, you had a lot of confidence. When we talked in the fighter meetings, you talked about, I'm going to show everyone. Everyone thinks that they know. They have no idea. I have power in my hands. We talked about you having a good ground game. You said power was the difference in this. You proved it.
I told my boss, Casey, back home, we'll knock him out with a left hook. What'd I say? Hey, don't get it twisted. Everybody will find an excuse to throw salt on me. Hey, that's not luck, that's preparation, baby. If I can't do it with 6 months of training to beat him, nobody was gonna beat him.
We also talked about you taking a long time off from fighting based upon you broke your leg in a fight when you kicked. It's happened to other guys. How was it coming back in this cage mentally? Was that any problem at all?
You remember what I told you, Big John? I'm from the mean streets of Mississippi. You could get it any day of the week, any of them that end in Y. So whether it's in a cage, in the parking lot, in Fresno, San Jose, West Coast, what's up, baby?
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, the Big Tuna, Ben Parrish.
Ben Parrish rocking the mic like he rocked Christian Edwards. Improves to 5-1 and hangs the first L around the neck of Christian Edwards. What a start to Bellator 266, and let's go to the fight desk. Here's Jen Brown.
Well, thanks, Mario. Hey, that is the way you open the show here on Showtime. A huge upset win there for Ben Parrish, getting it done tonight inside the Bellator cage. Going to see some more things from here, and I'm sure we're going to hear more things from here down the road. Well, hey, it's great to be on the road again here. We are in San Jose. I know my counterpart over here is real happy. This is a home game for Mr. Josh Thompson over here. You got to sleep in your own bed all this week.
Nice, so nice. Well, let's talk about Big Tuna dropping Big Kahuna.
Right?
On Christian Edwards' jaw. That was amazing. Like you said, the underdog, but it was great to have him come out and electrify this crowd. And this is my hometown. This is where almost all my fights took place. I love it here and love having the fans here.
So when you feel this energy and you saw them on their feet there for him, does it make you miss fighting? Does it make you want to get back in the cage?
Jen, just like I said in the prelims, absolutely not. The answer doesn't change. It stays the same. No, I don't miss it, but I do miss the crowds. I'm glad that they're all back. And I love sitting here with you talking. Obviously, you're not going to throw as hard of punches at me as they used to.
You just get beat up with Big John McCarthy now with all his words. All right, well, tonight in our main event, we've got the highly anticipated Bellator debut of Joelle Romero. Now, he's taking on our former champ in Phil Davis. Josh, what do you think about how these two guys match up tonight?
I think they match up extremely well. But what you're going to see, though, is we're going to have to see the wrestling pedigree of Joelle Romero and how well he tries to transition his wrestling into his striking. I've said this over and over, and I can't say it enough. Just because he's 44 years old, a lion is still a lion. And know what they do? All they do is hunt and kill. That's it. And that's exactly what he does. He just comes out, uses big power in his hands, flying attacks, flying knees, and he's got the wrestling to stop anybody if he wants once he gets him to the ground. And when he gets on top, he is vicious with his ground and pound.
He absolutely is. Now, Phil Davis also comes from an impressive wrestling pedigree. How important is it for him to use that wrestling tonight?
I think he needs to use it early. He needs to use it early and often. And the reason why he needs to use it early and often, he's fighting somebody who is 44 years old. And so when you can push them to a pace that they're not comfortable fighting, that brings the energy level down for them as the fight goes on. Now, Joelle Romero also is now up to 205, where he's not making the cut to 185. But I also think that Phil Davis, being the wrestler that he is, as well as the striker, and he can sprawl and brawl, and he's got something that most people have with the submissions. He attacks the submissions. Like he says, is if I get a hold of your wrist, I'm taking that thing home with me.
Oh, I love these two matched up very well. We're going to be in for a real treat tonight. Well, some breaking news you may have already heard, but Bellator MMA is now confirming that Anthony Rumble Johnson has had to withdraw from the light heavyweight World Grand Prix due to an undisclosed illness. Now, we will respect his privacy, and of course, we wish him a full recovery. So taking his place, it will be tournament alternate Julius Anglikskas. Now, Anglikskas will now face light heavyweight champion Vadim Nemkov for the belt and the right to move on to the tournament finals. Now, this is a big step up for Julius here in this moment. Josh, what do you think about him getting this title shot here in this moment now?
Well, first I want to say Anthony Johnson is one of my closest friends in the sport, and I'm going to send all the prayers out to him, and we're thinking of you here at Bellator, and it means a lot that you have contacted me and let me know that you're doing well and that there's a road ahead of you. And I just want to say that you have my support, and I'm looking forward to seeing you back. Now, to move on to Julius, this is how legends are made. And if you don't believe me, ask somebody named Dale Cormier, where Scott Coker promoted him into a tournament, and look where his career ended up. That's exactly what Julius has right now in front of him, is an opportunity to beat somebody, okay, like Nemkov, and win that title and take that in to the finals of this tournament. If he can get that done, I think he has a perfect chance to obviously become the champion, but also tell the world that he is here and he has arrived. He possesses the power, the technique. He is extremely large for the weight. What I love about him, though, is he is technical. He doesn't do anything that's flashy. Okay, and that's the one thing. He will keep his style and his technique on track. He keeps his hands up, he's very aggressive, and he's got power with the right hand. He mixes it all up to really well together, and he's got good wrestling, sprawling ball, and when he gets on top, he will attack submissions. He's a very well-rounded fighter.
Curious, just your thoughts here. You get the call. You're now 4 weeks out from now fighting for the world title. What's going through his mind in that moment?
Look, there shouldn't be anything else going through his mind except this is my time to shine.
Yeah.
I have an opportunity to win the world title, go on to the finals, and win $1 million. I can't explain it to you anymore. This is your time. If this is not your time, then what are you waiting for?
A lot of motivation there.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, well, it all goes down Saturday, October 16th, live from Phoenix, Arizona, where we will close out the semifinal rounds of the light heavyweight World Grand Prix. Former title holder Ryan Bader, he will square off with Corey Anderson, and the tournament alternate, Julius Unglixkus, now gets the shot of a lifetime, entering the tournament to face light heavyweight champion Vadim Nemkov. Now, plug it in your calendar now. Be there for Bellator MMA Saturday, October 16th, only on Showtime. All right, well, coming up next, we've got Bellator veteran Georgi Karahanian. He's taking on Saul Rogers. Now, Josh, you said earlier in our prelims that this could be fight of the night. Why should fans be excited about this? We'll tell everybody why they should be excited about this one.
What we've seen with Georgi, right, is he's come up from 145 and he's had success at 155. And I think that's exactly what Saul Rogers is having to go through right now, is he realized that I can't make that weight anymore and still have great performances. He's physically strong. He's physically gifted in terms of his wrestling and his power. But when I'm looking at their weigh-ins, look at one, they both used to fight at 45, but now they're at 55. Look at the size of Saul Rogers. And the other thing that I love about it is his smile that he carried throughout the week. He's like, I have never felt so happy at a fight camp or through a fight camp as well as fight week. And so I think his power and his strength will transition into the 155-pound category. Georgi has had a ton of success, though he struggled at 145 because of the weight cut. But he's had a ton of success at 155. So the two of them, though, have traveled the same road, and now we're going to see if Saul Rogers can make that change as well.
All right, well, Rogers, he's looking to rebound from a loss in his last fight, and this is actually the last fight on Karahanian's contract. So you got to assume that they're going to go out there and throw down tonight. Well, let's get to it. Mauro, back over to you.
All right, we are set for what promises to be a mouth-watering matchup. Both Georgi Karahanian and Saul Rogers say they've never felt better, and it's thanks to moving up to 155.
Set to make his way to the cage, Saul the Hangman Rogers.
Saul Rogers has had to sacrifice, well, more than most. And when you're a professional fighter, it is all about sacrifice. But leaving his family back in the UK, training at Sanford MMA, along with the likes of Greg Jones and Henry Hooft, and Rogers, who's 14-4 with 9 submission wins, has talked about what it means. He really feels that he is going to be resurrected at 155 and make a run at the title.
Right now, this is the story of getting rid of weight cutting, because weight cutting in a lot of fighters kills their performances. This is Saul Rogers against Arby. He gets the back, and if there's one thing every fighter will talk about after facing Saul Rogers, it is his strength, how strong he is, how physically brutish his strength is, and his ability to muscle them around, and they can't stop it. At 155, he's going to be stronger than ever. He's going to feel better, and you should see great performances coming from him
Remember, Rogers was preparing to face Adam Piccolotti. Piccolotti out with an injury. Karahanyan agreed to take the fight on 10 days' notice.
And now, making his way, Georgie Insane Karahanyan.
Here in Cali, gotta mention Cypress Hale. Insane in the brain, insane in the membrane, and it was Georgie Karahanyan's own mom that gave him that nickname, and he is a fan favorite, making the trip to the Bellator MMA cage for the 19th time, his 5th bout with the promotion in the lightweight division, 3-1, and the defeat, a hotly contested affair with Miles Jury.
Let's just be honest, since Georgie has made the decision to fight at 155, you're seeing him, he's happier, he's performing better, he has been outstanding. This is against Kiefer Crosby, looking for the arm triangle choke. He just works at it because he's got a great ground game. Kiefer Crosby, a dynamic striker. In this position, he's at a disadvantage. Georgie just takes his time, knows when he has it, and just puts the squeeze on Kiefer Crosby, getting the tap. That's what makes Georgie so good. Very calm, very calculated, but he's also got power in the stand-up.
More than half of his 31 wins have come via submission. Still a 100% carnivore diet, and when he looks at Saul Rogers, he sees his next meal.
Our tail of the tape for this lightweight, and I love saying lightweight matchup between these two, 155.6 and 155.7. Both of these guys used to fight at featherweight. He used to kill them. Now they're going to be healthy and fighting well at 155.
This man is definitely no lightweight. He is a heavyweight. On the microphone, Michael C. Williams.
Live on Showtime, Bellator MMA moves now to the lightweight division, scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds. Introducing first the blue corner. At 5'10", weighing in 155.7 pounds. His professional record, 14 wins, 4 losses. Fighting out of Deerfield Beach, Florida. He hails from Manchester, England, Saul the Hangman Rogers. And across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the red corner. At 5'8", weighing in 155.6 pounds, the veteran brings 31 professional victories, 11 defeats, 1 draw by way of Moscow, Russia. He fights out of Riverside, California, Georgie Insane Karahanyan. And the referee in charge, Frank Trigg.
We are set. Georgie Karahanyan, 9-9 in Bellator, 4 knockouts, 3 submissions. Saul Rogers, 2-2 with 1 sub-victory. The bell in round 1, lightweight action. Georgie Karahanyan in the red gloves. Saul Rogers in the blue, double jab. Splitting the guard of Karahanyan by Rogers early, again honing his striking skills with Henry Hooft in the Sunshine State. Overhand right just misses for Rogers. Left hook, right hand combination. Some sharp striking from Rogers early, John.
Absolutely, but you're also watch Georgie. He's trying to counter. He's trying to set up that timing. He's looking for the counter, so it's not like he's getting run over right now. He's just taking his time. Saul Rogers establishing a very good left jab.
And you know that jab is annoying Georgie Karahanyan like autocorrect, as Karahanyan looks to come correct as a clinch. Knee up the middle by Karahanyan, and on the exit lands the right.
Georgie is known as a very strong fighter, but he's going to find out that Saul Rogers physically is going to be one of the strongest opponents he's ever been in the cage with. He just needs to be smart about not trying to overpower Saul. Use the technique that has gotten you so far.
I love the way Rogers is putting together his punches. Not necessarily going to the textbook 1-2. There's a stiff jab followed by the left hook by Rogers. Outside leg kick, and Rogers really bringing it to Karahanyan. But like you said, John, Karahanyan waiting for the counter, not really being damaged by the blows.
Oh, he's just taking his time, and this showing, you know, he's a veteran in this sport. But right here, this is where Saul Rogers really starts to use that strength. He bullies everyone on the ground. Now, the real question is, does he want to be on the ground with Georgie? Georgie's got great submissions, but I will say Sal Rogers' ground and pound, when he finally establishes it and gets going, it is vicious.
Rogers has great submissions as well, with 9 on his resume. Under 3 minutes left here in the opening stanza. Rogers being neutralized in the, well, now open guard, and Karahanyan knows a thing or two about the, well, French Revolution's favorite submission, the guillotine.
He has got an outstanding guillotine, sets it up very well, actually gets his opponent to put their head in a place where it's not supposed to be, and all of a sudden, it's locked on and tight.
Rogers stacking Karahanyan along the fence, dropping some long-range right hands, grazing the jaw, and going to the body and back upstairs.
Big, heavy shots, too. Those were not little arm punches, you know, body, head. Those are heavy. Look at the posture.
Mexican Independence Day weekend, and he went to the body like it was filled with candy, but now Karahanyan looking to control Rogers' head. Coming up on the final 2 minutes of the first round as we are involved in lightweight action. Almost had to say featherweight there for just a moment, even though both, you know, Karahanyan has been here now. It's his 5th fight, and Rogers back moving up to 155, coming off a submission loss to Mads Burnell. Was involved in, well, both in the featherweight Grand Prix.
Sal Rogers was in the featherweight Grand Prix, so was Georgie, but again, losing a lot of weight, it actually put them in positions where they couldn't accept as much damage. They got hurt by shots that they normally wouldn't get hurt by.
The Grand Prix coronating A.J. McKee as the king at 145. Patricio Pitbull still the king at 155. Rogers with the waistlock takedown, tripod by Karahanyan.
Nice return to the ground by Sal Rogers. Karahanyan working to get himself up, but when you get taken right back down, it can become demoralizing. You just got to keep telling yourself, it's all right, just going to keep on working the position. Right now, Sal Rogers kind of mauling Georgie Karahanyan. He's not really hurting him, but he's just all over him, and Georgie can't figure out the puzzle of getting free.
They both like to snatch the neck. For Rogers, 5 of his submission wins have come via rear naked choke. And of course, as we mentioned, Karahanyan, he loves the guillotine with 6 guillotine wins. But right now, he's being fed a diet of right hands from Rogers before wrist control by Karahanyan momentarily.
Rogers doing a very good job of just systematically landing.
Oh, shoulder strike.
Beautiful shoulder strike right there. And normally when we talk about a shoulder strike, not a lot of damage, not a lot of heat to it. That one had a lot of power behind it.
And again, irritating, knocking you off rhythm momentarily, and Karahanyan looking to ride out the rest of the round, controlling the head of Rogers, but Rogers in control in the opening 5.
Any business? How you feel? Good? You fucking look great. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, good eyes. Staying long and fast. You can stay out there and stick them as long as you want to. Yeah? Yeah? Take advantage of the rest of them when you can. Go ahead, Staps.
Yeah. When you're striking, you're just changing the levels all the time.
This is when Sal Rogers got behind Georgie, brings him right back down after he got up, right back down to the mat, and then landed all kinds of different strikes. But look at this shoulder strike right here. Didn't land incredibly hard on the chin, but it definitely got the attention and at least makes Georgie have to think about him using that technique again.
We are seeing marked improvement in Sal Rogers striking, thanks to what's going on in the Sunshine State with Sanford MMA.
Look, when you're talking about the basics of striking and what someone can learn, Henry Hooft is just fantastic. Dutch style of kickboxing.
Bell in round 2, and when you again are leaving your family back in your native UK, he said he didn't want to disrespect his training partners in England, but he says there is levels to this game, and you get some of the best training at Sanford MMA. And well, Rogers outstriking Karahanyan 18-7 in that opening round, and when it came to ground control, Major Tom, 2 minutes 36 seconds for Rogers, 0 for Karahanyan. Rogers takes him down again.
He's going to be right back on it. Georgie went for the guillotine as far as looking for that neck, but he does not have it in this position. Nice job of wrapping up and figure four-ing the legs. He just let go of it. Georgie turned his back. You see Sal trying to get that hook. Now he's got it. That sets Georgie back a step.
And the back of his opponents are the canvas in which Rogers is very adroit again. Majority of his submissions via the rear naked choke, but Karahanyan shelling up, but being nailed with those right hands underneath.
Nice job of dropping back down.
Changing levels.
Look where his head's at. Head is high. That means he's going to win the position and get him where he wants. He would like to get Georgie's back off of the cage, though. He wants to swing those hips to one side or the other.
Rogers said he didn't want to toot his own horn, and then tooted it by saying he's better in every department against Georgie Karahanyan. Of course, Karahanyan in every, that's what you're supposed to say.
You gotta believe that, so there's nothing wrong with him saying it. Georgie believes he's better in every category, and that's fine.
But don't you also need to be honest with yourself and realize where there are certain areas that you probably need to work on? Because every fighter has his certain flavor.
You absolutely need to work on every area of MMA. But right now, what Sal Rogers is showing is when he would, at this point in the fight as a featherweight, slow down and control instead of damage, he's going after damaging Georgie Karahanyan, and that's a big difference in the fight.
Appreciate the work to the body by Saul Rogers, battering Georgie Karahanyan and draining him of the all-important energy as he is forced to carry Saul Rogers on his back, and Rogers continuing to try to set up the rear naked choke with these right hands.
He is, and eventually, if he continues on with what you're seeing and is able to do damage, it's going to slow Georgie down to where he makes a mistake, and that neck will become available.
Dan Henderson, Fedor Emelianenko with those right hands underneath the armpit, and there's Karahanyan, desperate move, going for the guillotine choke.
This is what we talked about with Georgie Karahanyan. He will get a hold of that neck very good with that guillotine.
Oh, no. Switch knee, and what a combination! It's Karahanyan with the switch, flying knee, and now lighting up Saul Rogers. What a night already here in San Jose, and another jumping knee, and another jumping knee by Georgie Karahanyan before he is taken to the ground by a bewildered Saul Rogers. Wow!
He definitely got hurt by that flying knee. It landed, it had some power to it. But Georgie he put a big dent in that gas tank.
Karahanyan said he was extra excited to be on the same card as his favorite fighter, Joelle Romero. As I mentioned at the top, Romero has 2 flying knee knockouts. Karahanyan was looking to do the same, but now Rogers controlling him on the ground, looking to take advantage of this position.
See, and all of that started from Georgie Karahanyan being offensive and going for that guillotine, set everything up. That's what got him to the position of being able to land the flying knee.
Final minute of an entertaining second round. As anticipated, we thought this had the earmarks of fight of the night, and Rogers and Karahanyan doing their best to put them in contention.
The other thing to think about, Mauro, you talked about it before, only 10 days notice for Karahanyan in taking this fight. It's been a high pace, a lot of action.
30 seconds left in the second. Rogers using those punches to try to open up Georgie Karahanyan so he could slip that left arm underneath his neck, and again, try for, what has been a very successful submission thus far in his career, the RNC, but Karahanyan isn't going to make it easy. Oh no, it don't come easy.
Here comes Georgie Karahanyan. This was the flying knee. Look at it, snaps the head back, and you see it wobbles Sal Rogers. He has problems with it. He goes after him. Rogers got a little bit of a smile, but he definitely got stung by it, and then he comes right back again. Again, brings it up, doesn't land on the chin, more to the body. Again, brings it, Going after it. You got to love what you saw.
The veteran, insane Georgie Karahanyan, and went after Rogers with that Vanderlei Silva special with the blizzard of strikes.
Plant your feet. Get sit on your shots. You had him hurt, but your feet were too close together. There was no pop on the punches. Bend your legs a little bit.
Keep your foot on the gas.
Crowd showing its appreciation from what has been a spirited scrap between Saul Rogers and Georgie Karahanyan. Big John McCarthy unofficial scorecard going into this important third round.
Right now, I've got this fight even. And look, I know that Rogers had a lot of good work in the second, but he got hurt. He was in trouble for a moment in that fight.
And Karahanyan looking for the guillotine.
Again. He's got that in tight. You see him where he's wrapping the leg around the back is to create pressure, but he doesn't have enough. He wants to bring that foot up or that knee up to extend and stretch Sal Rogers away from his arms. I don't know if he's got enough left in his arms. He doesn't. After 2 rounds of fighting like that, it is not an easy thing. And then to get that squeeze, just more lactic acid in the arms.
This is where you want to let your opponent see you sweat when he's going for a submission.
This is where you almost make that gurgle sound on purpose to let him try to squeeze hard. Nice knee inside by Sal Rogers.
Saul Rogers again, leaving his girlfriend Brogan and his children Xander and Bo at home. I was asked by Rogers to give him a special shout out, let them know that he loves them, and of course earning the family's keep here in the Bellator MMA cage, and now looking to try to finish a man who has been stopped 3 times in his career, but this is his 44th professional fight.
Nice job of Sal sitting him back.
Talking about insane Georgie Karahanyan trying to reverse position, but that's going to be made even more difficult by Rogers grapevining the left leg of Karahanyan.
Yeah, he's got that nicely entwined with his leg. That's going to keep Georgie's leg from being able to extend up, get himself to a standing position. It's not that Georgie's getting seriously hurt, but he is absorbing just more and more as far as punishment.
And the crowd here in San Jose, again, spoiled by some of the best fights in MMA history there. They're getting on these 2 guys, but
there's nothing to boo.
Nothing to boo, baby.
I'm telling you right now, both guys are putting a lot of energy out. Great fight so far. Great performance by Sal Rogers as far as, man, he's only had a small amount of time where he was in trouble against Georgie here. For the most part, he's been dominating a lot of the action.
In the words of my friend Adam Cole, nothing to boo here, Bay, as we've got Saul Rogers continuing to try to put it on Georgie Karahanyan, trying to flatten him out on the canvas. Karahanyan keeps getting back up to his feet, and man, they are working for every inch here with under 2 minutes left in the fight. Yeah, and an important fight for both of them at this stage of their respective careers.
True. Sal Rogers just bulldogging him around, throwing him around, little movements. He tries to get himself free, and all of a sudden he's finding himself back down on the canvas. It can be a frustrating moment for Georgie. Georgie has no quit in him. He's continuing to go after this. He's working, trying to get himself up. Nice clean shot by Sal Rogers.
Time running out. Karahanyan has to try to explode somehow out, but again, he's being neutralized, isolated because of what Rogers has on that left leg. The entwining it, keeping him from getting up to a vertical base and turning around and trying to unload everything he has left. Rogers continues to control him on the ground.
It's the size and strength of Sal Rogers. He's able to just create a pressure that is right now Georgie cannot figure his way how to get out of it, how to get himself back to his feet. It can be very frustrating if you're Georgie, but he hasn't given up. Keeps on working hard. Sal Rogers is all over him. Look at that ground control time. 9 minutes and 16 seconds of time that Sal Rogers has been all over George Karanyan.
Knee to the rib cage, and now he hooks the right leg of Karanyan and just trying to open Karanyan up again with strikes. Down to the final 15 seconds of this lightweight contest between insane Georgie Karanyan and Saul the Hangman Rogers, and unfortunately the crowd booing the efforts of Rogers and Karanyan, and yet I found it to be an entertaining scrap, John, and Saul Rogers taking maybe the most conservative approach to just ensure he hopes that he has gotten the victory in what was a hard-fought fight. And guess what? It is premiere season on Showtime, and this fall's lineup, I gotta tell you, it's a masterclass premium entertainment.
You love the game. The chance to take someone else's power for yourself. You can't deny that would feel good.
You never take me down. You got hurt, we hurt back.
Oh.
You say we're partners? Then trust me.
Can we trust anybody?
This is my world now.
What do you want us to do? Light his ass up, Univark style. This is when the fun starts for me.
Whatever there is to find in there, the sheriff's gonna find it.
There's nothing.
There's always something.
Approximately 6:30 last night, one of our own was found dead.
Did he leave my home to arrest my son?
A busy human being, Buell.
You'd be surprised.
Can you keep a secret? You bet.
It's been almost 10 years.
Have you learned nothing?
I might still be a monster. But I'm an evolving monster.
Saturday night is indeed all right for fighting here in Northern California's largest city, San Jose, home to the SAP Center, where another impressive crowd on hand for a banner night of Bellator MMA action. Let's go to Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the decision, we'll go to your three judges at cage side. Your first, Michael Bell, scores at 30-27, while judges Sean Dallas Hall and Jaron Vallell both see it the same, 30-26. I'll have it for the winner by unanimous decision, Saul the Hangman Rogers.
Xander and Bo Daddy's coming home with a hard-fought victory. Saul Rogers improves to 15-4, 3-2 in Bellator with a hard-fought victory over the double tough Georgie Karanyan. Let's go to Big John McCarthy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with your winner, Sal Rogers. Sal, that was a very tough fight, a very good performance by both of you. Talk to me about you moving up from 145 to 155 pounds. How did it feel?
You know what, it felt amazing. I've been killing myself too long trying to cut down to 145, and now I've moved up, I feel stronger and I feel more dominant. I don't know why these guys were booing to be able to control a guy like Georgie. 3 rounds to be so dominant with someone as tough as him. Like, how can you boo that? Do you know what I'm saying?
I can tell you right now, I didn't boo at all. I thought it was an amazing performance by you. You were wrapping up a guy who's an outstanding grappler on the ground. Let's talk about the second round, though. There was the moment he got the guillotine. It was tight. You got yourself out. And then let's talk about the knees, the flying knee that hit.
You know what? I know he's good at guillotines, but there was none of them guillotines was even close. I wasn't in danger, but the knee, woo! It hit me with one clean. Maybe the second got through, not as clean. And I just tried staying protective, but you seen in the fight, I had a big smile on my face. I love that shit, you know what I mean?
You did have a big smile. You came out after that second round, and you came out and dominated the third round. How were you feeling at the end of this fight compared to your other fights when you were losing so much weight?
You know what? I feel miles better. In the other fights, after maybe around 2.5 minutes, my arms were gassing, and I had nothing to carry on then. I've controlled him for 3 rounds, and I still feel good to go. Any of these fighters now that are on the cusp and they're still killing themselves, take it from me. Move up, be healthier, be happier, have a longer career. Much better.
I want to tell you that was an outstanding performance. You looked fantastic. Can't wait to see you at the 155.
Yo, I've been away from my missus and my kids for 3 months. So shout out to Brogan, Bo, Xander. I love you. Daddy's coming home.
Sounds good. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Sal, the Hangman Rogers.
There is an echo in here, but I believe it meant a lot more coming from Saul Rogers. The shout out to his family. The Hangman hangs. Another L on Georgi Karahanyan's lengthy career. Karahanyan going down to defeat for the 12th time, but always putting up a fight. But it's Saul Rogers who picks up an important victory tonight in the lightweight division. With more, let's go back to Jen Brown at the fight desk.
Well, thanks, Mauro. You know, when you think about the sacrifice that these fighters go through day in and day out, you heard Saul there at the end say he's been away from his family for 3 months. He had moved to Florida. You got to imagine his kids at home. They're going to be excited. Daddy's coming home with the win. Josh, what's your takeaway from this one tonight?
I could tell that he was nervous going in the second round or through the second round if he was going to run out of gas, because that's what's been happening to him, like he talked about when he was cutting to 145. The other thing is, well, throughout the week, he said, look, in training, my chin has been a lot better, and he proved it tonight. The shots he was taking at 145, he said he felt like every time he got wobbled. Now, he took the clean knee, stepped back, got back after it again. He looked a lot better at 155, and his body frame can hold the weight just fine.
Well, it was a fantastic performance from both guys. A tough, hard-fought fight. Looking forward to seeing both of them back in the cage, hopefully soon. All right, well, next Friday, ShoBox, the new generation, returns with a 3-fight main event. Well, headlined by bantamweight prospects Jericho O'Quinn and Saul Sanchez. ShoBox is the place where one big win can take you from an up-and-comer to a contender. That's Friday, September 24th, starting at 10:35 p.m., only on Showtime. Well, tonight, it is the highly anticipated Bellator debut. 2-time Olympic wrestler Joelle Romero, a fighter that has produced some of the greatest highlight reel knockouts. Now, Romero returns to the cage after 18 months away from the sport, and historically, we have seen him at middleweight. But tonight, his Bellator MMA opening statement is that the 205 division is all his. Standing in his way is the former light heavyweight champion Phil Davis, now also regarded for his impressive wrestling skills and his pedigree. He says tonight he plans to use it and use it early. He told us that he felt like he didn't use his wrestling soon enough in his last fight, and tonight it will be different. Now both clearly have the hunger to make a statement tonight as they look to shake up Bellator's light heavyweight division.
I've worked my way up fighting the who's who of MMA. I've ascended to a Bellator world title, and having lost that belt, of course that motivates you. And so I feel very comfortable with where I am and where I'm going and what needs to be done to get there.
Cuando miro hacia la división donde estoy participando ahora en Bellator, en esta gran compañía, estoy viendo una gran competición. Estoy en los Juegos Olímpicos. Corey Anderson, Phil Davis, Netkoff, Brian Veda. Oh my God. ¿Qué más puedes pedir? Esto es una cosa de locos. No vinimos a jugar. Los niños juegan, los hombres no juegan. Por eso es que hemos venido a esta compañía. Está llena de hombres y de hombres talentosos.
Joelle Romero is a freak athlete. He is a knockout artist. He is a MMA phenom and a phenomenal wrestler. He's a guy that comes with a lot of mystique, and he's a guy that usually backs it up. But here's a guy who's 44 years old, and maybe to a lot of people that means something. And I know that a guy who's an elite athlete, being a silver medalist in the Olympics, just has a much longer shelf life as an athlete, period.
Cada día que pasa, me siento y converso con muchos atletas, muchos más jóvenes que yo, de diferentes deportes, y me llenan de regocijo porque yo siento, cuando me están hablando, que me están hablando de corazón y me dicen, no todo el mundo puede hacer lo que tú haces y como lo bien que lo estás haciendo, me sigo sintiendo muy bien. Tengo que darle muchísimas gracias a Dios porque estoy haciendo lo que me gusta y en la forma en que lo estoy haciendo. Estoy viendo, independientemente de que me cuido, Dios también me cuida. Me siento fantástico.
The hardest part about maintaining your place in the sport of MMA is really dependent on how you live your life outside of the cage, you know, not just training for the fight. I really love my job, and all throughout COVID, I was just in the gym, just doing the things that I do, working a bag by myself, jumping rope, working on my timing, just enjoying the sport.
Phil Davis es un peleador muy escurridizo, tiene mucha experiencia, pero es como todo atleta, como toda persona, como todo ser humano, tiene partes débiles y partes fuertes. Tiene muy buen cardio y muy buena lucha. No por gusto fue campeón de Bellator.
I was in the biggest, baddest light heavyweight tournament ever and drew the champion right away, and he bested me, and if I ever want to see that belt again, I mean, it's about getting back in there, taking down the biggest, baddest dude outside of the tournament, and fighting a guy like Joelle Romero. He is the way to get back to the belt.
Te voy a dar un buen consejo. No te muevas de la silla. No pestañees. En cada segundo hay segundos de pura adrenalina, puro peligro.
This is going to be wonderful. You wait and see.
Well, tonight, Mr. Wonderful meets the Soldier of God. Now, with their mile-long list of notable wins, their decorated wrestling backgrounds, and the clout that each one brings to the cage, well, tonight, the light heavyweight main event winner looks to put everyone in the Grand Prix on notice. All right, well, coming up next, two women looking to make their own statement in the female flyweight division. A former flyweight challenger, Alejandra Lara, she's going to face off against Deanna Bennett. Now, when we talked to Lara this week, Josh, I sensed this a newfound sense of like maturity from her. She talked about that. She said in her last fight against Kana Watanabe, it was like a breaking point for her. She went back, she made some changes. Specifically, she talked about the mental changes that she put in this camp. What can we expect to see different from her tonight?
Well, she's talking about maturity, is what you're talking about. And what it comes down to maturity is she realized in the last fight, you can't just fight guns blazing. You can't do that every fight. You want to know why she does that? Because I had the same problem when I first started my career. I love to fight, and that she loves to fight. And so when you love to fight and you love to do something that much, all you want to do is go out there and do more of it. And when someone hits you, you want to hit them back. And I'm telling you right now, she loves when people mix it up with her, when they get in the mix with her. Alejandra Lara will push the pace. She just needs to learn to conserve the energy instead of making big mistakes. You saw when she fought Vita Ortega. She would jump in on things and sometimes miss, but her left hand is straight down the pipe, and she hides that head kick up there as well really well. So she hides it behind the straight left and then throws the head kick. But when she fought Watanabe, she knew there was a lot of pressure because she was probably going to get a potential title shot off of that had she had a great performance. She had a great performance in the first round. And then she realized that she kept going and going and going, and she gassed herself out. Now, it wasn't a cardio fatigue, it was a muscle fatigue. But look, when she gets to the top position, even Watanabe found that out, not just on the feet, but on the ground. When she's on top, she's got heavy hips, she's got great control, and she's got vicious ground and pound.
Certainly very dangerous. Now, her opponent tonight, Deanna Bennett, she suffered a really bad injury in her last fight against Liz Carmouche in that third round. She went in, she tore her hamstring off the bone. It was a very bad injury. It took her a long time to heal from that. When we talked to her this week, you know, she says, you know, I feel better. I feel like I'm prepared. But I'm curious, you know, you watched that fight against Liz Carmouche. She was doing well until she ended up getting submitted in that third round. What do you expect to see from her tonight?
I really believe she only got submitted because she tore the hamstring off the bone. She has 6 anchors now that hold that hamstring back in place. On top of that, it was 1-1 going into that third round against somebody like Liz Carmouche. Look, she possesses power, but she also possesses the movement, and she strikes off of her movement, and she moves off of her strikes. She does very well in terms of throwing and then moving offline. So when she's fighting Liz, she throws the 1-2, boom, boom, and then see, she moves off the line. She doesn't just move straight back. What I also like is that she's a good wrestler. She doesn't always use it as much as she could, but she plans on using it this fight. And I think if she's gonna have success tonight, if she can get Alejandra Lara down and be in the top position, she's got good submissions, and she's got good enough wrestling to hold her there and control her there to work to the submissions.
And she told us she is hungry for this win tonight, but tonight she will have more than just fighting on her mind. Now, yesterday at the weigh-ins, she told us why this is the most important fight of her career.
Honestly, it's different from any other fight that I've had. You know, this place, the SAP Center in San Jose, it means so much to me. It's my absolute favorite place on the planet. My dad was a cop. Basically, my whole fight career has been building to this moment right here. And it's hard to put into words exactly how that feels. It's excitement. It's wanting to live up to my potential in here, living up to, you know, what my dad's last words to me were actually fight, because the brain tumors took away his ability to talk, and so he would just say fight, just because he knew how much it meant to me, and he was my biggest fan. You know, San Jose police officer, he did everything he could to serve this city, and to be in here, you know, I mean, I cry every once in a while. I don't see myself crying walking into the cage, but just having those overwhelming emotions, my plan is just to channel that into my performance when I get into that cage.
Well, she told us this week that she takes her father's badge with her to all of her fights. She uses that, you know, as a motivation and a reminder that her father is always with her. Well, lots of emotion heading into this one for her tonight. Mauro?
Yes, Jen, and she'll have to put that emotion on the back burner once she enters the Bellator MMA cage. But Deanna Bennett faces number 5 ranked former Bellator flyweight title challenger Alejandra Lara in 3-round action.
She is now set to make her way to the cage. Deanna Vitamin D Bennett.
A walk she has waited in her entire life to make. Started playing hockey at the age of 11, a die-hard San Jose Sharks fan, and we heard her, John, talk about her father and the influence he had on her. He worked many strike force events here as a San Jose police officer. My brother's a police officer in Vancouver. You're a 22-year vet of the LAPD. There's a brotherhood, and I know he's looking down on his daughter tonight.
He would be very proud of his daughter tonight, because he talked all the time about her being a fighter and being in this building, fighting in this building in front of the San Jose crowd. That's what he envisioned. That's what he dreamed. And tonight she's making that dream a reality.
And now, to make her way, Alejandra Azul Lara.
The charismatic Colombian Alejandra Lara, at the age of 27, already a 10-year veteran, showcasing her athleticism, her flexibility. She has a bachelor's degree in dance, and there's just not enough time to list her varied interests and accomplishments. You talk about a polymath. She had a lot of kinetic energy as a child. Her mother introduced her to various sports. She loves the arts, singing, dancing, and of course, fighting. And boy, she jumped into the deep end of the Bellator talent pool immediately in just her second fight. Challenged then champion Ilima-Lei Macfarlane, and then she lost via split decision to current champion Juliana Velasquez, and is coming off a hard-fought setback against Kana Watanabe, where she said her weight cut impacted her greatly.
Absolutely, but she learned from it. She learned that she had to adjust her diet. She had to adjust what she was doing. She made weight no problem for this fight. And the one thing you gotta love about her, she said, when I step in the cage, I am happy.
Unadulterated joy.
What I do. What more can I say?
An amazing ambassador of MMA and an amazing story surrounding Deanna Vitamin D Bennett as we get set for for this matchup in the Bellator MMA flyweight division. Let's go to the tail of the tape. Here's BJM.
Well, our tail of the tape, you got to look at the weight. Like we talked about with Alejandra Lara, 125.2, that's making weight. Deanna Bennett was weighing herself on her own scale. She thought she was in weight. When she stepped on the official scale, it was off. She's going to have to fix that.
Putting the bitter in a bittersweet night for Deanna Bennett. Before we begin the proceedings, of course, we need to hear from the man in the middle, Michael C. Williams.
From SAP Center, Bellator MMA features 3 5-minute rounds in the flyweight division. And now live on Showtime, we introduce the blue corner. At 5'4", weighing in 129.2 pounds, her professional record. 10 wins, 7 losses, 1 draw, fighting out of Oakhurst, New Jersey. She hails from Fremont, California. Introducing Deanna Vitamin D Bennett. And across the cage, her adversary fighting out of the red corner at 5'7", weighing in 125.2 pounds. The former title challenger enters with 9 professional victories, 4 defeats. From Medellin, Colombia, presenting Alejandra Lara. In charge of the action, your referee, Blake Grice.
Alejandra Lara, a fan favorite here in Bellator MMA, looking to bounce back.
Are you ready?
Against Deanna Bennett, hoping to snap a 3-fight losing streak. Lara in the red gloves, Bennett in the blue, and we are underway. Flyweight action. Lara spent camp rediscovering her confidence, lands a straight left down the middle to southpaw against the orthodox Bennett, and nails her with the right hand. So Lara was telling us she was going to showcase her striking early as Bennett went for the shot. Oh, what a body kick.
The one thing that we know about Alejandra Lara, her stand-up has improved leaps and bounds since she's entered the Bellator cage. She is very smooth in her stand-up, and she has power now. We're going to see how long.
Oh, a head kick by Bennett. And now Bennett, though, took it well and delivered a knee, and Bennett will continue to try to impose her will. She said it's about putting pressure on Lara, and she is doing that, but Lara has had the best of the striking exchanges thus far.
Well, we know that Deanna Bennett is a very good wrestler, and we know that she's good in the top position. How long is she going to want to stay on the feet with Alejandra Lara?
And as usual, when it comes to members of the distaff part of MMA, no feeling out process, and Lara and Bennett going at it, mano a mano, like a dentist and a carpenter, tooth and nail early.
Deanna putting a hard pressure forward. Nice job by Deanna to get the takedown.
Bennett has 2 rear naked choke submissions, now getting the back of Lara. Lara has been submitted by Leminger McFarland.
That was quite a while ago, but what you're looking at here, you're seeing that Lara is just slowly trying to put pressure on Deanna Bennett as far as with her legs. She's trying to control that position and actually pull herself out and end up on top. Deanna doing a very good job with her one hook, holding the position, holding the arm, taking her time, not trying to do anything flashy right now. Just maintain position before you start going for any kind of submission or strike.
Bennett started wrestling at the age of 15, played water polo, and in fact it was because of water polo that she started her MMA career. An assistant coach telling her she should consider that. Flags on Lara.
Beautiful job by Deanna Bennett to get her second hook in and get the back now completely of Alejandra Lara. She's been laying down a lot of shots. She got the half Nelson there.
Bennett trying to drum up the victory in the most important fight of her life. Here to honor her father, her late father, here in her favorite arena. Trying to offer the dream scenario, going for the victory against Alejandra Lara, and Bennett ground and pound from the back, John.
Still a lot of time left left in this round, Moro.
Lara looking for the backdoor escape, but Bennett has her hooks in.
Bennett doing a good job and controlling with her legs. Yeah, that wasn't based upon Deanna Bennett.
The shots to the head. Back of the head.
Lara turning her head. You cannot expect Bennett to change a punch mid-throw.
Bennett said, and I quote, the Shark Tank, my favorite place on the planet. To be able to fight here is the ultimate dream come true. And now she is continuing to be diligent in her pursuit of the third rear naked choke.
Nice job by Alejandra Lara. Knows I've got to turn.
And the scramble hit out by Lara. But she continues to feel the effects of the ground and pound of Bennett. Lara looking to get back up to her feet with less than a minute remaining in the first round.
She's working hard to get to her feet, but all that weight and all that pressure from Deanna Bennett is keeping her pressed up against the cage, and she's unable to get to her feet. A lot of weight, but now she's on her feet.
Bennett with a huge edge in the striking department. 30 seconds left in the opening frame. Deanna Bennett in the blue gloves looking to snap a 3-fight losing streak. Lara looking to bounce back from just another loss, but a hotly contested one against Kana Watanabe. So both of them desperate to get back on the winning track, and Lara in desperately trying to bring the fight to Bennett. What a round. And Lara may have entered the cage with the biggest smile on her face, but after round one, definite concern in the corner of Azul.
Hands up. I need you to inch in. I know you gotta relax yourself. Listen to me. When you're stopping, she's firing, not reckless pressure. Bop, 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 go. She has no balance. You take her down, you keep working. Stay consistent, stay working.
This is when Deanna Bennett was able to look at the way she moves that leg into the hook. Comes out, heavy hip pressure, flattens her out. Starts opening up. A lot of shots landed by Deanna Bennett in this round, all unanswered.
Ready? Fight!
The bell in round two. Lara in the southpaw stance. Bennett fighting orthodox. Lara, nice counter jab by Bennett as Lara went for the low kick. Oh, nice overhand left there by Bennett.
Right now, Bennett's movement is giving Alejandra Lara a little bit of trouble. She wants to be in the southpaw position, but she's losing that foot position on the outside.
And in Bennett's corner after the opening round, Brian Wright, her head coach, said that Lara had no balance, and Bennett was able to take advantage of that. Do you agree with that assessment as Lara backs up following this barrage from Bennett?
Well, she had no balance at a certain point when she was getting up off the ground. Nice shot.
Solid right and left by Bennett, and Lara ate it.
But right now, you're taking a look. Look at the movement of Bennett. What she's doing that is very just beautiful in the way she's doing it. Look at her footwork as far as she keeps changing the angle on Lara, and Lara is unable to set her feet and feel comfortable in throwing. Right now, that is keeping Lara in a position where just the movement itself is stopping the offensive production of Alejandra Lara.
Bennett has thrown 109 strikes compared to just 39 for Lara. Both of them at near 50% connect rate, which is always a good night at the office. If you can maintain that, John.
If you can maintain it, but right now, look, Deanna Bennett looks good. She doesn't look tired at all. She had a lot of output in that first round. Doesn't look like it's a failure at all.
Hook kick there, attempt by Lara. And of course, people will say, well, Bennett didn't make weight. Maybe feels a little fresher because of it.
You know what? That is the problem with a fighter not making weight.
Wow.
Alejandra Lara went through all of the struggles to get to that 125-pound limit. 125.2 is what she weighed in at. Deanna Bennett didn't get to that same thing.
Nice left hand behind the guard of Lara. Connects again for Bennett, who is known for this kind of attack. It's inexorable. It's relentless. And Bennett continues to walk forward and continues to score with her strikes.
But one of the things that it's been the story of the night, the jab.
And the level change, and you're right, the power jab. And Lara able to defend the takedown thus far.
We're doing a nice job changing the position.
And Bennett did say she wants to put the pressure on Lara and put her on the ground, but she's getting the best of the striking exchanges.
Right now, you're absolutely right. She's getting the best of the striking, so that's one of the reasons right there. She was willing to break off from that clinch and go back to doing what she's done so well in the stand-up.
Good footwork by Bennett. Again, naked shot that Lara was able to time and defend. Telegraph that takedown. Elbows on the break by Lara. Still no anxiety on Lara's part, still remaining focused, committed to a game plan, using the kicks, but she has to be careful if Bennett talked about taking her down.
Well, right now, Deanna Bennett's in a position she's really not worried about Lara shooting the takedown on her, so that's giving her free movement in the stand-up.
Sorry, I meant because of the kicks of Lara, she could set herself up to be taken down by Bennett, where Bennett said she wanted to take the fight.
Absolutely.
Oh, spinning wheel kick by Lara, trying to come up with a dramatic momentum shift.
Nice heavy shot, right hand by Deanna Bennett. You saw Alejandra Lara trying to land the elbow.
Bennett is comprehensively outstriking Lara, setting up, resetting, coming in with angles. Lara attempting to use kicks. Bennett moving forward and lands a left hand as they disengage. Under 30 seconds left here in the middle round.
Yeah, take a look right now. I'm not sure about, you're seeing the switch of stance by Alejandra Lara.
Man, Lara, as we saw the strike totals, trying the kicks and now the clinch, and Bennett getting the better of it here, backing Lara up to the fence, and almost landed an elbow at the bell, but another great round for Deanna Vitamin D Bennett, and unfortunately she didn't see Lara try to touch gloves there after a tough round for Lara.
I'm wondering if Lara might have some type of injury with her right leg. She's taking a weird step at times with that right leg. So
yeah, she's delivering it's almost like a crescent kick, I guess, of some kind, which low pressure or low percentage shot.
Yeah, take a look right here. Nice kick, beautiful right hand by Lara. Upset the balance of Deanna Bennett. But it was overall Deanna Bennett landing the cleaner shots, but a nice left hand right there by Alejandra Lara.
Seconds out.
Bennett landing a clean right hand, but that jab, the left hand of Bennett, has found its mark multiple times.
Which against a southpaw, not usually the case.
No, it's not. Normally it's just setting off with that right hand down, the straight right hand down the middle.
Round 3, you ready?
Third and final round, Alejandra Lara has to dig down deep. Deanna Bennett has kept, obviously, her emotions in check. She's had a great game plan thus far. Nice counter left by Lara as Bennett went upstairs with a kick.
Really crisp, straight left hand right down the pipe by Alejandra Lara, but she's got to do something in this round, in my opinion. I think she's behind in this fight, 2 rounds. Lara
began training karate at the age of 4. Made her pro MMA debut in December of 2011. And for Deanna Bennett, she fought for the first time in February 2012. Two veterans now of the sport. Bennett, veteran of Invicta FC, the all-women MMA department, as Lara trying to put together combinations, but Bennett went over the top with the left hand, John.
Bennett keeps on bringing that pressure forward. Now Lara has gotten into more of a waiting on it and countering her.
Can she wait
landing
with 3:45 left in a fight that you think she's losing?
I think she's losing this cleanly. So it's a matter of, in my opinion, she's got to finish Deanna Bennett to get a win here tonight.
Bennett comes forward, bull rushes her, backs Lara up with the left hand, and again, it's all Bennett in terms of footwork. Well, Lara now trying to find an angle, trying to disrupt the rhythm, trying to get entry where she can do some damage on Bennett and in a hurry, because 3:15 are now left in this fight, and it's been a high-octane affair. Nice right hand that caught the jaw of Lara.
You can see Lara each time trying to counter. Going straight back is never going to work for you.
Unless you're Chuck Liddell.
Right now, Deanna Bennett with the underhooks. You see
looking for that guillotine. And then the elbow strike. Wow. And beautiful sequence. Nice mixing up of your offense.
Exactly. And you're looking at it on the exit, making her pay for something. Take a look at right now what we've got. You've got a huge difference in what has been landed between these two, and you can see the effects of it in the fight.
212 strikes by Bennett. She is emptying her tank. Again, honoring her dad. And wow, so far, other than the missing weight, which is a big deal, of course, but she couldn't ask for a better performance, John, in this. A fight at the Shark Tank, where she has watched many fighting events and many San Jose Sharks games, looking to shoot and score against Lara.
Look, Deanna Bennett's got a win over Juliana Payne.
Oh, nice left hand by Lara. Go ahead.
She's a huge win against a very good fighter, but this right now could be the highlight of her career, getting a win against Alejandra Lara here tonight in this building.
Looking to author her magnum opus on the most important night of her career. Her words. Oh, Lara catches the kick. And now Bennett from the ground. Again, Bennett has 2 submission wins. Lara has 3 submission victories, but Lara has to show a lot more intent and energy here, John. I know we're down to the final minute of what has been a fast-paced fight.
Yeah, but so easy to say, but after been in this fight for now almost 14 minutes.
Wow.
There's not a lot of energy left with Alejandra Lara.
And especially because she's been on the receiving end of a wide variety of strikes, including these up kicks.
Exactly.
Oh, and she got caught again, and she went with the left hand. Perfectly timed up kick by Deanna Bennett. Smile on her face.
She's out there enjoying her work. She wanted her corner, but did you see what just happened?
Amazing.
An outstanding performance overall by Deanna Bennett. Came in here, the underdog in the fight, knew that this was her opportunity to make something happen in her career.
Whatever you believe in, her father, Mark, whose final words to her before passing away due to brain tumors was fight, and Bennett put on the fight of her life tonight. A fantastic scrap, and Alejandra Lara went the distance. Had to overcome some confidence issues after what happened against Kana Watanabe. Training camp in Mexico. And tonight, John, your unofficial scorecard, Deanna Bennett, the better fighter.
No doubt about it. I've got Deanna Bennett winning this easily. She won every round, and I think she won the first one.
An incredible display of emotion. Let's listen in. moments that make all of the work pay off. The pain, the suffering, the fleeting moments of joy.
Straight punches, very smart. That drives Alejandra Lara straight back. She gets into the clinch. And then this was the point. Lara decides to jump in. Boom, straight up off the throat. She gets the worst of that exchange right there. That's not what you want to have happen when you're the fighter in the top position.
She hopes the vitamin D, the D in vitamin D stands for destiny, because this is where she felt she was destined to be one day in her career. And is it going to be a fairy tale ending for Deanna Vitamin D Bennett? Michael C. Williams has the answer.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the decision, we'll go to your 3 judges at cage side. Your first judge, Jaron Vallell, scores the fight 30-27, while judges Ron McCarthy and Wade Vera both see it exactly the same at 30-26. All have it for the winner by unanimous decision, Deanna Vitamin D Bennett.
Letting Deanna Vitamin D Bennett soak up this incredible moment, and the D in Vitamin D turns out to be dominant as she records the biggest win of her career, and she's standing by with Big John McCarthy.
Deanna Bennett, first thing I want to say is congratulations. I know that this was a huge fight for you in this building. Talk to me about what you're feeling.
See, you don't know if I was going to cry walking out, but now I'm going to cry right now, and it's ugly. It's ugly cry right now. Oh, I can't describe to you how I'm feeling right now. Where's my dad's badge? This place means everything to me. I'm born and raised in the Bay Area, the SAP Center. This is my place. I love it here, and I love the Bay Area. And I'm so glad to be here, fighting in this cage for Bellator with all of these fans here. And I just can't describe it. I know my dad, he's with me here. He always knew I was gonna fight here. I didn't, because I'm a little shit sometimes. But he always knew I was gonna fight here. And to get my hand raised in this building, hence the ugly cry. So I'm sorry.
You put on an incredible performance. In the first round, you got her back, you flattened her out, you hit her with a ton of shots. Did you think you were possibly going to end the fight in that first round?
I wanted that first round finish so bad, but you know, Alejandra, she's so tough, and you know, you can't have a good fight with just one person. Both fighters have to be great fighters to put on a good show. So half of this victory belongs to her for coming to the cage, being an opponent, and willing to put everything out there just like I did. And I wanted that finish so bad, but we'll have to wait till next time for that. I'm just gonna have to, well, there's a few things I need to fine tune, but man, I can't wait. And I'm really sorry, you're not Laura Senko, but I'm gonna pet your hair.
One thing here, your stand-up, you've always been known as the wrestler. You've always been known for having a good ground game. And it was always your stand-up that people thought that they could exploit and get a win against you. Talk about your improvement in the stand-up and how comfortable you felt out there tonight.
Honestly, I felt better in the stand-up than I did on the ground. That's why I got first round, you know, got to the ground, and that's like my bread and butter. But honestly, a lot of that has been working with my coach here, Brian Wright, and my team at Killer Bee. I owe this resurgence of my career to him, because he's really helped me, you know, become the fighter, become well-rounded. I've had coaches in the past who are like, oh, if you don't get a takedown, you're never gonna win a fight. Well, boom, looks like I just won a fight, so.
Boom, let me tell you right now, congratulations to you. I know your dad is watching. He is super proud of you. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Vitamin D, Deanna Bennett.
I chose this career path because I wanted to be a storyteller. And these days, feel-good stories are few and far between. Deanna Bennett just gave us a feel-good story here tonight in San Jose. Let's go back to Jen Brown at the fight desk.
Well, she certainly did, Mauro. And to think, you know, her father, Mark, he would work the fights here in the Shark Tank for Strikeforce. He would come home and tell her, I just watched Gina Carano fight. I just watched Chris Cyborg fight. I think you should be a fighter. It was before she ever thought about being an MMA fighter. And now look at what she was able to do tonight. It's an incredible story, Josh.
Look, I know winning is always important. It feels good to win. But I want to let her know that no matter what, if she would have won or she did win, if she would have lost, her dad would be proud of her no matter what. The fact that she fought in this arena, her dad used to work in this arena. I'm sure her dad watched me fight here, all the other top fighters fighting a lot in this arena. Her dad's looking down right now, just extremely proud of her. I think a lot of us are extremely proud of her for the performance she just put on.
Let's talk about her performance real quick because, I mean, dominant each round against a very tough opponent, Alejandra Lara. What's your takeaway?
My takeaway was the wrestling was the key. As soon as she got the takedown at the beginning of the first, into the first round, once she got on top and started half Nelsoning her down, keeping her head pushed to the canvas, keeping Alejandra Lara flattened out, that's exhaustive fighter. And when Alejandra Lara got back up after the first round, you could just see she was depleted. She was done. She was almost defeated. She had some moments in the second and the third, but they were just more few and far between.
Well, she had talked about that being an issue in her last fight. Going to go back to the drawing board and work on some of those things. Hey, but great job tonight by Deanna Bennett. Well, now, in just under a month, the Bellator Light Heavyweight World Grand Prix Finals will be set October 16th in a double main event. Now, we've got tournament alternate Julius Hunglikskas, we just announced. He is getting the shot of a lifetime entering the semifinals to fight the champion, Vadim Nemkov. And on the other side of the bracket, former light heavyweight champion and current heavyweight champion Ryan Bader. He is on a run to get his champ status back. But first, he's got to get past the #2 contender in the ranking, Corey Anderson. And I am sure Mr. Anderson has something to say about that strap, and that is why our own Mauro Ranallo is standing with Overtime himself.
Corey, you're fighting Bader in his backyard. Do you embrace the scenario of fighting in hostile territory, or is your singular focus on the task at hand?
I mean, my focus is just the task at hand. When I first started, I always said it. I'll fight in the alley. I'll fight in an empty gym, on a football field. I don't care. My job is to go out there, fight, dominate, and win. So that's what I'm here to do.
You trained with Bader early in your career, and you have said many times, he knows and I know, quote, unquote. What do you mean by that?
Like I said, he knows, I know, his coaches know, my coaches know, his family know, everybody that was around at that gym, they know.
What do they know, Corey? What do they know?
It was young in my career, and we was putting that work in. So now that I'm an 8-year veteran, just know, it's going to be even worse than it was then, even better than I was then, or it could be even more competitive as it was then. However he see the fight, however he remember those training sessions going, just know I'm better than I was then. So, you know.
Well, I know that you know how to rock a mic, and before I let you go, I want to get your pick in tonight's main event between Phil Davis and Joelle Romero, and give us the reason why you're picking who you're picking.
You know, this is when I've been going back and forth with my wife. A lot of people I don't really, to be honest, I'm a lean towards Joelle Romero because he's more athletic, he's explosive. I would like to say Phil Davis because he's longer and got a longer reach and longer legs, but I don't feel he used it as well. And as for Joel, he's just explosive all the time. So it only takes one big shot to put your lights out, and I think that's going to happen tomorrow.
Well, Corey, I want to thank you for your time. I don't want to keep you over time, so thank you for this. Good luck in Phoenix.
Thank you very much, Mauro. Take care.
The countdown is on. In just 29 days, the semifinal tournament bouts will decide who moves on to fight for $1 million, the claim to the best light heavyweight in the world, and the belt. Well, Ryan Bader is no stranger to carrying a gold belt around his waist, but now, after 15 years of training, the highly decorated wrestler also dons the highly coveted jiu-jitsu black belt. Now, he was awarded for his hard work by Master Joelle Romero, now founder of Team Kimura. Now, Bader told me that he's been training 2 to 3 times a week for the last 4 years and feels like it has helped him in his overall fight game. He also, though, told me Then when he's done competing as an MMA professional fighter, he wants to try his hand, Josh, competing in gi.
Well, Ryan Bader, it only took you 15 years, but welcome to the Black Belt Club, my friend. I'm so happy for you. And it's amazing. I'm glad. It's always learning. And congratulations.
That's not an easy thing to do. Well, speaking of black belts in jiu-jitsu, coming up next, the co-main event, former title challenger Naaman Gracie, he's going to take on Mark Leminger. Now, as we know, Josh, the Gracie name, it comes with a lot of weight and pressure. It just does. And great, you know, Naaman, he does such a good job at just carrying that cachet. Why is that?
Because he's good. But that's the thing. He does a great job because he's well-rounded. And Big John alluded to this earlier. He basically said that I agree with, which is very rare for me to agree with Big John, is that he is probably the best Gracie that has ever fought. In terms of he's the most well-rounded. He's got good wrestling, okay? He's got good striking. He doesn't rely on his striking, okay? But he knows it's there. He's got it in his back pocket, and he utilizes it to get in on the double underhooks. He's good at taking people down. He's got a great double hook. That person right there you're watching him take down, that's Ed Ruth, 3-time national champ out of Penn State. Double-legged him, got to his back. He was all over Ed Ruth in the wrestling as well as the jiu-jitsu in that fight. There's been countless times where people have counted him out and saying that he's not gonna be able to get this, he's not gonna be able to strike with somebody, he's not gonna be able to take them down. And he's proved them all wrong. He has had success in every aspect of this sport, and that's why he deals with that adversity of the Gracie name.
The thing I love is style of jiu-jitsu. He's just so good. You know, we heard him last week in an interview. He says, I don't look for the submissions. I just wait. I wait for my opponent to make a mistake, and then I capitalize.
And this is exactly what he's talking about. He's fighting right here with John Fitch. And John Fitch he made a mistake. He was being patient. And Naaman just waited and waited and waited. And finally, John went the wrong direction, went to post, and his heel exposed himself and right to the inverted heel hook, which he actually turned in to a knee bar as well.
Well, let's talk his opponent, Mark Leminger. He's won 5 of his last 7 fights. He's looked good inside the cage. What does he need to do to get the win tonight?
So look, all of his wins here in the Bellator cage have come by the fact that he's able to take the shots, deliver the shots, get the takedowns, and dominate the top position. He's going to have a hard time doing that against Naaman Gracie because he's got to avoid those submissions. But I really believe that if he gets in and gets out with his boxing, okay, and I think he'll have success. But it's like as I was saying, his wrestling is second to none. He'll get the takedowns if he wants them. And when we talked to him this week, he said, no, I'm not going to shy away from wrestling. I'm going to make sure that I get to the top. And if I feel like I'm in danger, I'll back out. All of these things he does very well. He's just got to be very cautious and careful with Naaman Gracie when he hits the ground. Now, you can see from all the stuff that he's doing in his highlights, but the biggest thing is this, is he's got to make sure he mixes it up. You got to make sure he mixes it up between boxing, wrestling, and backing out anytime there's some exchanges.
Well, he said this is an important fight because he knows a win over a top-ranked Gracie puts him in the top 10 in the rankings hopefully next week. Well, Naaman Gracie, he's currently tied for the 2nd most submission wins in Bellator MMA history, but he says that is not good enough for a Gracie. He said it is time to be at the top of that list, and with a submission win tonight, Moro, he will be tied with Goichi Yamauchi at the top and 1 step closer to that goal.
Well, when you're a Gracie, you want to rule the submissions, and yeah, seeking his 8th submission tonight. Naaman Gracie, former Bellator welterweight title challenger, number 4 ranked at 170 pounds in Bellator. Mark Leminger facing the toughest exam of his promising career.
And now ready to make his way to the cage, Mark Leminger.
When Mark Leminger isn't preparing to fight, he's usually riding his hog with his French Bulldog along for the ride, John.
You gotta love a guy that has a French Bulldog that likes to ride on the tank of his
It's actually his parents' dog, but he brings it along for the ride. And when they reach 40 miles an hour, the dog looks at him and says, okay, you can stop.
Dog turns around and goes, that's enough.
Lemminger looking to make this one a dog fight. He feels a victory while he knows a win over a guy like Naaman Gracie going to put him in the top 10. What do you find most intriguing about the way Lemminger fights?
Look, Mark is a very solid wrestler. He uses that base of wrestling to get in on guys, take them down, and when he is in the top position, does a great job of positioning his body, putting pressure, and dropping giant shots down on his opponents. His stand-up is good, but it's not his strength. But in tonight's fight against Gracie, he's going to want to make it his strength.
Yeah, comes from a hard-working blue-collar family where his dad and uncles were all wrestlers, and that toughness definitely shows through in his fight style. Looking to move above the 500 mark here in Bellator. He's 2-2, both wins via knockout, and coming off a TKO victory over DeMarcus Jackson at Bellator 260 back in June.
And now, making his way, Naaman Gracie.
Naaman Gracie told us that there were going to be enough Gracies here at the Shark Tank tonight to, well, put together the Gracie train, but it's only the conductor, not the rest of the train, walking down the ramp. And Gracie, who moved from New York, where he still trains with Renzo Gracie, and now on the West Coast, training is striking with one of the best to ever train strikers in MMA. I'm talking about Rafael Cordero, and he's hanging 10, doing his surfing and looking to hang another L around the neck of Mark Leminger.
He is looking to hang that L around Mark's neck, but what makes Naaman so good is he hasn't stuck with one thing. He is very good in his jiu-jitsu, but he's not a gi jiu-jitsu type of guy. He is a no-gi guy, and he's exceptional with his leg locks, with his body positioning, and with his chokes. If he isn't on the ground in the top position, you are definitely in trouble.
Renzo Gracie and Rafael Cordero part of his corner, and with Gracie, you know, you ask fighters about their game plan. You know, I don't want to share that with you. With Gracie, he says, "You know my game plan. I'm trying to take you down and trying to submit you." Although he said, "Hey, don't be surprised if I pull a submission out of the clinch." And oh yeah, Rafael Cordero, Naaman Gracie striking. He says he wants to be the best to ever do it in the Gracie family. Let's take a look at the numbers that matter, John.
Look at the numbers that matter here. Tail of the tape on this welterweight matchup, 10-2 for Naaman Gracie. A lot of people don't believe he lost his last fight. It was controversial, but 12-3 for Mark Leminger. This is a matchup of styles that are absolutely meant to be in the cage together. This should be outstanding.
Gracie looking to bounce back. Mark Leminger looking to crash the top 10. Here's Michael C. Williams.
Bellator MMA Live on Showtime now presents tonight's co-main event, 3 5-minute rounds in the welterweight division. Introducing the blue corner, at 6 foot, weighing in 169.9 pounds. His professional record, 12 wins, just 3 losses. By way of Johnson Creek, he fights out of Madison, Wisconsin, Mark Leminger. And across the cage, his adversary tonight out of the red corner at 6 foot, weighing in 170.6 pounds. The former Bellator title challenger brings 10 professional victories, only 2 defeats, fighting out of Newport Beach, California, by way of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, presenting Naaman Gracie. And the referee in charge, Jason Herzog.
Naaman Gracie says if his cousin Renzo Gracie isn't in the building, he's not fighting. That's how important Renzo's been to his career. Mark Leminger says he's going to keep it standing and beat Gracie on the feet. Bell in round 1. It begins on the feet, of course. Gracie in the red gloves, Leminger in the blue. And it's going to be interesting to see what wrinkles in the striking that Gracie shows. And he just landed the first strike of the fight, a jab.
we already seen that Naaman Gracie's stand-up has gotten progressively better throughout his Bellator career to the point where he is very comfortable on his feet. Now that he's with Rafael Cordero, that is a place where he can just expand on his style and what he does well.
And he's coming out aggressively in the stand-up. Both of them are.
This is because he's comfortable here. He is not the typical Gracie that a lot of people get used to, where they're looking for just the takedown, and that's the only thing that they're looking for throughout the fight. He will stand on his feet and bang.
I thought Crosley Gracie would have the potential to become the best striker in the Gracie family, but his MMA tenure was short-lived. Coming up on a minute gone here in the first frame, and it's Gracie having Leminger against the fence in the clinch.
And one of the things that's different about Gracie when he gets into the clinch, he likes the clinch like a Greco-Roman wrestler. I've always said that the guys with Greco-Roman wrestling backgrounds are the toughest.
Right uppercut, the back of the knee of Leminger, and Naaman Gracie lighting up Leminger with these right. The right hand, Naaman Gracie with the super striking. Gracie. And Henzo in the corner celebrating. Forget submissions. Gracie is now a menace in the striking department. Full value for the victory. That striking was superb.
This is what I was talking about. When you have that comfort level, when you believe that you have reached a certain point where, hey, I'm not worried about having to dive for takedowns. I can stand up and I can bang and I have power. Naaman Gracie just proved what kind of power he has.
Mixed martial arts. Rafael Cordero has done it again, and Henzo Gracie and the rest of Gracie's team now moving to 11-2, erasing the loss to Jason Jackson. He wants to run it back against Double J, and he just ran over Mark Leminger. Elbow strike to begin, John.
That was a good elbow that landed, but Mark ate it well. But then he got hit behind the ear, but watch the big uppercut. The uppercut is what starts to change this fight. That is a devastating shot. You see it actually takes his legs away. It is the cage that keeps him up at that point. He's putting his hands up like he's in a schoolyard fight where he doesn't know where he's at, what he's doing. Then he gets it back, he fights back, and you see him start to go out on his feet.
Man, those strikes were staples.
There's the elbow strike. Big shots landed. He's not fighting back. That is a good stoppage by Jason Herzog.
Yeah, I know.
The third time that Leminger has been stopped due to strikes, and while Gracie didn't equal the Bellator MMA record for submissions, he records the first knockout victory of his career. Gracie said, as far as having the Gracie name, two ways to look at it. You can have all the pressure on your shoulders, or you can enjoy and feel grateful to be able to carry the legacy. And that's how he feels. There's always pressure when you enter the cage. That pressure tonight for Gracie produced a diamond. Here is Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the Bellator cage, it comes to an end. 1 minute, 27 seconds into round number 1 by TKO, Naaman Gracie.
The evolution is complete. Naaman Gracie showing respect. And, well, I know Big John McCarthy's going to show him plenty of respect.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with your winner, Naaman Gracie. Naaman, your coach, Rafael Cordero, was bragging about you to me just the other day about, oh, you should see his striking. I said, hey, his striking was already good. He goes, it's even better. Talk to me about what you're feeling like on your feet in this cage.
I don't need to take people down to win fights anymore. I can do it all. But if I take you down, oh boy.
Talk to me about the uppercut and the way you saw the opening to throw that uppercut. That's what started the downfall for Mark in this fight.
I saw he was putting his head down, so I come up with the uppercut. I have one thing to say. If you keep the fight standing, it's hospital. If you go to the floor, it's cemetery.
That sounds very similar to a guy that used to throw kicks by the name of Crow Cop. Who is it that you believe you should be matched up with next in this cage?
There is a couple guys that I want to fight. I want to fight MVP. I've been calling this guy out forever, and the fight never happens. He always have an excuse. I won my rematch with Jason Jackson. I won that fight last time, and I got robbed. And I won Mr. Yaroslav Yamosov. I have the worst game for him, and I believe I'll be the one to give him his first loss.
Well, any of those fights would be fantastic to see. Congratulations on a big win. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Naaman Gracie.
Gracie celebrating with his family. The first knockout of his career. Naaman Gracie improving to 11-2. Sights set on once again challenging for the Bellator welterweight title. Those strikes were as smooth as a newborn, and if you're a Gracie, you were born to fight. Let's go back to Jen Brown.
Well, you know, Mauro, he did tell us this week that he had some tools up his sleeve in the striking department. He was hoping to showcase them tonight. He did just that. He's got 9 submission wins, Josh. This is his first knockout of his career. What's that feeling like as a fighter, picking up your first knockout win?
Well, he's training with Rafael Cordero, who's one of the best striking coaches, I think, in the world. And then the fact that he sees the results now. That elbow was beautiful. All my years of fighting, I've never landed an elbow like that. And I was known for a little bit of striking. That's the one thing that bugged me the most. He looked phenomenal. I think his training with Rafael Cordero was beautiful. He's done a great job with Naaman Gracie. Boom, right on the chin. Nicely done. Then he steps back, creates the space, doesn't smother his punches. These are the things that top-level strikers learn from Rafael Cordero. And this was textbook. What he did was, what most people do is they land a hard shot and then they smother themselves and nothing else clean lands after that. He didn't do that. He took a half step back, created an angle, and boom, boom, boom. You see Rafael Cordero jump up. That's what you're looking for from your coaches. That's what you're looking for if you're a coach from your fighter. He got exactly what he wanted. Beautiful work tonight. Well, nicely done.
Fantastic performance. We heard him say a couple of names there at the end of who he would like to face next. Who do you think he should face next?
Look, his fight with Jason Jackson was really weird. It was just strange. There was an eye situation with the fence, and it was a strange. I'd like to see that fight ran back, but I think he said the right thing though. Always calling out the champion. Sure. And when you do call out Yaroslav Yamosov, I think his game is tailor-made for him.
We'll look forward to it. Can't wait to see him back inside the cage. Well, Bellator MMA has stamped its international footprint on the likes of Israel, Paris, and Budapest, and many more. Well, this fall, we are taking this show around the world in less than 40 days.
As the weather turns cooler, the MMA action heats up on Showtime. On Friday, October 1st, the Bellator cage returns to London for a must-see rematch from the iconic SSE Arena, Wembley. Former 3-time welterweight champion and the #1 ranked Douglas Lima battles #2 ranked Michael Venom Page, who is looking to avenge his only career loss in front of his hometown fans. Then Saturday, October 16th, live from the Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona, the light heavyweight World Grand Prix resumes with 2 semifinal showdowns. Former light heavyweight champion Ryan Bader takes on Corey Overtime Anderson. And in the main event, world champion Vadim Nemkov defends his belt versus the #5 ranked Julius Onglikskas. And history will be made Saturday, October 23rd, as Bellator MMA makes its debut in Moscow, Russia. Headlined by heavyweight GOAT Fedor Emelianenko, as the Last Emperor is looking to reign supreme in his home country against double tough American Tim Johnson. Then it's off to the Emerald Isle on Friday, November 5th from the 3 Arena in Dublin, featuring 2 of Ireland's favorite sons. In the main event, James Gallagher faces Patchy Mix in a bantamweight battle. And in a lightweight rematch, Dubliner Peter Queally faces Patricky Pitbull. It's 4 amazing nights of Bellator MMA action from all over the world, only on Showtime.
A lot's coming your way in the next couple of months, and now we get to close out Bellator 266 here in San Jose with our main event. Now, Joelle Romero, he is an explosive, dangerous fighter. He's known for those highlight reel knockouts. He's also comes with that Olympic-level wrestling background. Phil Davis also known for his punching power and phenomenal wrestling. So if you are Phil Davis, Josh, how do you get the win tonight?
You put pressure on him. You make him fight at an uncomfortable pace. He is someone, because of the weight cut, I believe, those are the questions going to be answered tonight. If you make him fight at an uncomfortable pace, he tends to slow down. He waits for that moment to explode. So if Phil Davis can utilize his wrestling, make him fight hard early in the fight so he slows down throughout the fight, I think Phil Davis will be able to get a takedown, maybe even 2, but he also needs to use his striking to set up those takedowns because it will not be an easy takedown.
Well, Joelle Romero, you just talked about that weight that he was cutting. You talked about how Phil needs to mix it up, but you want him to see him use his wrestling early, though, right, Josh?
Yeah, so he is going to use it. He says he's going to use his wrestling early, but what he needs to do is making sure that every time it hits the ground that he's utilizing his submission attempts, his striking, his ground and pound. When he gets to the top position, he's got some of the best submissions. We just don't see it a lot because he doesn't utilize his wrestling as much as he could. And I'm telling you right now, if he uses his wrestling tonight, he will have a successful night. I don't know if he'll be able to come out on top, but it will definitely be a great performance.
Well, Romero, he is making his debut at the 205 division here tonight in Bellator. He spent most of his career fighting at 185. What is that going to look like in the cage for him, not having to drop those extra 20 pounds? How will that translate tonight?
I don't know. Ask Saul Rogers earlier tonight. How did it translate? He has the energy. Like he said, he was getting tired throughout his earlier fights. I think the same thing happens with Joelle Romero. He tends to peter out towards the end of the second round. It's nothing against him. They're in phenomenal shape. You look at him. He's built like a Greek god. So when you see him striking, when I see him with his wrestling, when he was at 185, he tended to slow down by the second round. I don't think it's going to happen now. He's fueled. He's fully fueled. He was, the day before the weigh-ins, was 214. Made the weight easy. He said he felt great. He was smiling and laughing.
Where do you think he has the advantage tonight?
Look, a lot of people make comments about his age. And the one thing I will say, his advantage is definitely his wrestling, but if he gets on top, it's his ground and pound. I want to remind everybody of this, though. An old lion is still a lion. So let's not forget that. And what do? All they do is kill and hunt. Hunt and kill, and that's it. That's it, and that's exactly what Joelle Romero does.
Said by someone who's getting a little older, maybe. I like that. All right. Well, Romero, he did tell us this week that the only statement that he wants to make in this fight is that the Bellator 205 division is all his. And Moro, though, I think Phil Davis might have something to say about that, huh?
Absolutely, Jen. Earlier tonight, Big John McCarthy said tonight's main event is all about the great unknown. So many questions. Phil Davis and Joelle Romero are ready to provide violent answers.
I've already been to the top. I've already had the belt. And my road back starts with Joelle Romero.
Are you ready for this? Because I am ready for this. I'm talking you, Phil. I never been bigger, faster, and stronger. Showtime!
When I'm done with Joelle Romero, the rest of the division is going to be on notice.
Mr. Wonderful, Phil Davis!
This is going to be wonderful. You wait and see.
Mr. Wonderful, we not have wonderful night. Believe me.
Sorry, Joelle. I'm going to have to ruin your Bellator debut.
Look out, Bellator. So there's God. It's here. Right here.
Tonight's main event is the Soldier of God versus Mr. Wonderful.
See you soon, boy.
Set now to make his way to the cage, Joelle, Soldier of God
is first. Walk to the Bellator MMA cage. He returns to Showtime for the first time in exactly a decade. It was also the last time he competed at 205, and that night things did not go well for Joelle. KO'd by former Strikeforce champion Rafael Cavalcante. It's been a year and a half since fans last saw the former UFC middleweight title challenger and Olympic silver medalist in action, and to pull out of his originally scheduled Bellator MMA debut against Anthony Rumble Johnson in the Grand Prix due to an eye injury, and he will be looking to snap a 3-fight losing streak off, albeit he was against the murderer's row of the middleweight division.
Look, he only takes on the top guys, and you're bringing up a fight. His first fight of his career was against a guy that in his next fight won the championship in Strikeforce, and that is the only time he's ever been stopped as a professional. This guy is a monster. Keys to victory for Joelle Romero in this fight is cut the movement of Phil Davis off, press into the cage, and open up with big shots, elbows, and maybe you're wrestling. Punches in combinations. I think the fact that he's at 205, he's going to have energy, and you're going to see him throwing a lot more combinations than he did in the past.
Romero looking to exercise the demon of his only loss on this network. So excited to be on Showtime. So excited to be in Bellator MMA, and the crowd obviously excited to see him. Cuba is in the house.
Yeah, that's 44 years old right there. There's never been anyone that I thought could compete in MMA the way Randy Couture did at this age until Joelle Romero. He is of that standard.
Will the soldier of God bring his petrifying power with him in his return to 205? Moments away from finding out.
And now, making his way, Phil, Mr. Wonderful Davis.
Phil Davis turns 37 next Saturday. Tomorrow marks the 6th anniversary of his victory in the one-night four-man light heavyweight Grand Prix here at the SAP Center. He is 4-0 in this building. Spent 232 days as the Bellator MMA light heavyweight champion, one of 7 fighters to hold that crown, and is coming off a setback to the current champion in the Grand Prix. So Davis looking to bounce back and, well, ruin the debut here in Bellator MMA of Joelle Romero.
Look, Phil Davis is a special athlete. This guy is amazing in what he can do. But this is the first time in his career that I've ever looked at Phil and said, the guy who you are facing has got better wrestling credentials than Phil Davis. We'll see what he does with that, because it's MMA, not wrestling. The keys to victory for Phil Davis: create angles with your footwork. Do not allow him to be straight in front of you. Don't overwork for the takedown, but definitely do not take it out of your game plan. Make it work for you.
Frank the Legend Shamrock just texted me and says for Romero it's all about old man strength, and, well, 44, hey, maybe the new 30 as Romero gets ready to face Davis here tonight. Let's go to the numbers, John.
Go to the numbers. Look at that 78-inch reach compared to 72.5. Joelle Romero is a guy who always is able to step inside. We'll see if Phil Davis can use that reach to keep him on the outside.
The wait is over with the official introductions for the Bellator 266 main event. Here is Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bellator MMA live on Showtime from SAP Center here in San Jose, California. The time has come for the main event of the evening. 3 5-minute rounds in the light heavyweight division. Sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission, Commissioner John Carvelli, Chair, Executive Officer Andy Foster. And now, first introducing the blue corner. At 6 foot, weighing in 205.4 pounds tonight. In his Bellator debut, he enters with 13 professional victories, 5 defeats, 11 of those wins by way of knockout. Fighting out of Miami, Florida, he hails from Pinar del Rio, Cuba. Introducing Joelle, Soldier of God, Romero. And across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the red corner. At 6'2", weighing in 206 pounds, the former Bellator light heavyweight world champion as a professional stands at 22-6, and he too with 11 finishes to his credit, 6 by knockout, 5 by submission. By way of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, he fights out of San Diego, California, Mr. Wonderful Davis. In charge, your referee, Mike Beltran.
All right, gentlemen, been over the rules already. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Touch gloves now if you want. At the sound of the bell, come on out. Handle your business. Let's go.
Phil Davis's record 13th fight in Bellator MMA light heavyweight history. Joelle Romero at the age of 44. How much horsepower does this Alpha Romero have left? It's the main event.
Right, gentlemen, first round. You ready to fight? You ready to fight? Handle, let's go.
Bell in round 1, the former light heavyweight champion Davis in the red gloves. Joelle Romero in his first fight here in Bellator MMA, returning to the 205 division in the blue gloves.
One of those unanswered questions is which Joelle Romero are we going to see? Are we going to see the guy that comes out and is explosive like he was against Paulo Costa, or the guy that just waits like the guy that fought Israel Adesanya?
Of course, with so much at stake, a potential opportunity to become next in line following the Grand Prix. Semifinals, October 16th in Phoenix, Arizona, and of course, with Romero, known for those explosive bursts. And for Phil Davis, so many tools, so much talent, so much experience. And yet he said he needs something to motivate him. Joelle Romero motivates him, and he promises to be more aggressive. In fact, he said that this could be a one-round fight. I don't know if he was serious.
This could be a one-round fight, but you're seeing right now, Phil Davis, look where his right hand's at. He's very calculated in his stand-up. That right hand is right up by his chin, protecting him. Good defense there. He knows that Joelle's got a very powerful left hand. He's cautious. That's called being smart. Take your time and feel things out.
And Romero, well, he is known for bringing his vaunted power into the third and final rounds many times, into the late portions of fights.
Joelle is known to start slow. That has been part of him throughout his career. And then as things happen, where his big knockouts come is usually in the third round.
His last fight stayed slow.
It stayed slow the whole time.
Inside calf kick scored by Romero, the southpaw, now back to orthodox. Davis checked that kick.
Davis being very cautious right now, just throwing sometimes 1-2 because he knows how explosive Joelle can be. He doesn't want to fall into any trap.
Number 3 ranked Phil Davis, who again has faced the current champion Vadim Nemkov twice, including challenging for the title in the Grand Prix in his last fight. And for Romero, 44, year and a half on the sidelines, moving up to a way more comfortable weight of 205.
You know, we talk all the time about people moving up in weight, the 205 for Romero. Look, no one's going to be any stronger than he is. No one's going to be any faster than he is at this weight. At 185, he was fast. He's going to be really fast in the 205 division when he explodes. So it's a great weight for him.
And he had issues making weight at 185, and again at this stage of his career, and you know he's all about challenges. A new lease on his MMA life here, and jumps right into a loaded light heavyweight division as they try to collect that data, try to figure each other out, and Romero
just almost right there.
Under a minute left in the first. Davis goes downstairs. He's known for his kicks, and they exchange kicks, and Davis doing a good job of checking some of those
Very
kicks.
nice check on that kick. That did not feel good for Joelle. A lot of different looks Joelle's giving him different angles, different stances. But Joelle is not really being offensive. He's not throwing a lot right now. He's letting this round get away just on the fact that Phil Davis has landed better kicks and a little bit more volume with his hands.
Davis fighting out of Azteca San Diego Boxing Club and 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. Romero representing American Top Team as we go to round 2.
Papi, te estás terminando con derecha todo el tiempo. Te estás terminando con derecha cerrada.
See? Go high with it. All right? The rhythm there, the push-pull that's happening there, don't fall into his rhythm. Keep moving your feet, keep moving your shoulders, start building from there. You're falling in his rhythm and you're slowing down your game just a little bit. Don't let your game slow down. Stay on your own rhythm, move your feet, move your shoulders, and let it go. Let it go. Just let it go. You're fast. You're fast. Hit that. You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir. You're fast enough. It's there. You just got to let it go.
We'll get it.
Just
Big John McCarthy, how do you have it on your unofficial scorecard after one round?
Unofficially, I've got Phil Davis taking that first round 10-9. Just not enough output in any fashion from Joelle Romero. You're taking a look. He hardly threw anything as far as what was landed. Not a whole lot by either guy, but at least the leg kicks that Phil Davis was throwing landed, and a lot of them were checked by Phil Davis when Joelle Romero was throwing them.
Bell in round 2. Romero landed 12 of 24 strikes in the first frame. Davis landed 9 of 45. And in the kicking department, Davis a perfect 6 for 6, while Romero went 9 for 14 in that first frame. And
someone on that thing does not understand when a kick gets checked, you don't give it credit.
Hey, I'm just reporting the numbers. Numbers don't lie, John.
Yeah, guess what?
Oh, 1-2. Executed by Davis, and the counter left by Romero.
Very nice body shot by Phil Davis, going to the body with the left hand. You've seen Joelle Romero, very high guard.
Romero swinging wildly.
Very high guard, that's opening up his body. Phil has seen it, that's why he's sometimes going there.
Romero, a former Olympic silver medalist in wrestling. Davis, a former NCAA Division I national wrestling champion. And of course, it's an MMA cliche. 2 credentialed wrestlers are throwing down. And wow, a few. Romero stuffing the takedown attempt by Davis.
He stuffed that easily, too.
Davis missing, taking him himself off balance with that sweeping left hook, but then going to the textbook 1-2, splitting the guard of Romero. Romero, high guard like you mentioned, John, not returning fire.
Yeah. One thing you'd want to see out of Romero right now is when Phil starts to come in and he's landing those shots, stepping in. You got to counter that, make him pay.
There's a 1-2 in the right cross, lands for Davis.
Phil Davis needs to start stepping that up from a 1-2 into a 1-2-3 and then 4.
Romero trying to defend like big George Foreman. And it's Davis, though, with the footwork, putting the pressure on Romero before Romero comes forward, pushing that left hand into the face of Davis. A lot of feinting by Romero, not a lot of offense. And when he does throw offense, wild and off balance.
Yeah, a little bit off balance there, trying to land with some power.
You don't say. Romero trying to land with power, my man.
Romero does such a good job, though, defensively of just rolling and moving his shoulders, letting the shots, they'll touch him, but he's taking the steam off of the shot with that roll.
Can't get that. Davis almost off his feet, but you're right. Hit the target. And now Davis on the back foot, backing up and then coming forward with a three-punch combination, but doesn't score. There's an inside low kick by Romero, but then Davis lands a 1-2, and then the body kick, and that right cross definitely caught the attention of Romero.
Romero can give him the faces, but those shots landed, and they landed with power.
And Romero, as we mentioned, knocked out just once, stopped once in his career, and it came at 205, while Davis, he has never been knocked out or submitted. As durable as they come in the sport of MMA.
Both of these guys are so durable. Out of all the fights between the two, only one stoppage.
Pace beginning to pick up with 60 seconds left in the second round. Jab to the midsection by Davis.
Got an NC2A champion wrestler, an Olympic silver medalist, and we've had one takedown attempt.
As I mentioned, it's a cliche, right? When two credentialed wrestlers meet, expect a striking battle.
That's it.
Romero starting to loosen up, both of them sweating as they exchange fire. Center of the cage, less than 30 seconds remaining. And Davis gets the takedown on Romero.
That's what I'm talking about.
Talk about the differences in wrestling between the Olympic silver medalist and the NCAA national champion.
A lot of people are going to say that, Joelle Romero, he's an Olympic silver, he's a better wrestler, he's got better credentials. But the style of wrestling is different. Freestyle wrestling that Joelle Romero is used to compared to folk style and top game that Phil Davis is so good.
And he ends the round in top position, so a confidence booster for Davis, taking Romero off his feet with the takedown.
This was really, this round was a tale of two different halves. Romero landed some good things in the beginning. Nice right hand right there. He caught Phil Davis. Romero also comes in, nice left hand straight down the middle right there. That pushes Phil back, and then Phil Davis, halfway through the round, really started changing it up and lighting Romero up with some clean shots right there.
And yet good defense by Romero, too, in that sequence.
Good defense, but then he did get caught, if you remember. And then this big takedown right at the end.
And set it up with the strikes.
That's exactly right. That's the difference. If you don't have to be the better wrestler in MMA to be the guy that can get the takedown.
MMA wrestling, different thing. George St. Pierre mastered that aspect of his legendary career as we get set for the third and final round of this light heavyweight main event here in San Jose.
All right, gentlemen, third and final round. Ready to fight? Ready to fight? Hell, let's go.
Round number 3. And it definitely appears that the engines are revving up. Much better pace in that second round. Big John McCarthy has Davis ahead, 2 rounds to 0. So For Joelle Romero, at least according to BJM, he's going to have to deliver one of those third-round knockouts that he's known for, or finish submission if he wants.
Well, we've seen him do it many times, so it's not something that is foreign to him. He can definitely do that. But he's a big close rounds, but little differences are saying to me, Bill Davis is the guy that's winning the round.
And you know, Romero's never scored a submission. Davis has never been finished. Intriguing final 4:15 here at the Shark Tank.
See, this is the Romero you want to see in the first round, though.
And Davis gets another takedown, almost moves right to mount, and now has Romero's back. Romero has never been submitted in the scramble. Romero feeling the heat from Davis. Third takedown of the fight.
And he's got him up with his back on that cage. Nice knee to the body by Phil.
So wrestling does play a factor thus far for Phil, Mr. Wonderful Davis, who told us at the fighter meeting that he would go to his wrestling. And he is doing it here in the third and final round, muting the fearsome offense of Joelle Romero.
Beautiful job by Phil Davis in showing fight IQ and, hey, I can take you down and I can keep you down where you can't hurt me. This is a great opportunity for Phil Davis right here to just put some good shots on Joelle Romero.
The Shark Tank has been the friendly confines for Phil Davis. He is 4-0 in this building and now attempting to go a perfect 5-0, looking to spoil the debut of Joelle Romero.
Phil Davis on the ground. He's got a beautiful setup for his Kimura. He's got a great setup as far as an arm triangle and anaconda choke. He's got really solid submissions.
Oh, he's got amazing submission skills.
Nice elbow by Phil. Quick, sharp, slicing elbow.
Phil Davis has fought the best of the best. He's been to the top of the mountain here in Bellator MMA. His record, 13th fight for the promotion at light heavyweight. Good reversal by Romero, getting back to his feet where he hopes to deliver high drama in the final 2 minutes.
Outstanding use of the underhook to get himself back to his feet by Joelle.
Level change by Davis, but this time Romero able to thwart it.
He's trying to get his hands together. He finally does, and here comes your takedown.
Take me down to takedown city.
Bill Davis has never had this many takedowns in his last 3 fights combined.
Amazing. And he mentioned it. He talked about it. There's been frustration in the fans of Phil Davis that he hasn't utilized his great wrestling that often. And you would think, again, against a guy like an Olympic silver medalist, but a 44-year-old former silver medalist, and Phil Davis continues to treat Joelle Romero like a newborn baby treats a diaper, John.
Right now, he's utilizing a skill set that he's had for so long, and he's doing a great job of taking Joelle sometimes.
Nasty knee strikes to the ribs.
Working himself to his feet, but then getting dropped back down. Nice ribs, just keep on hitting with the knees. A nice attack by Phil Davis.
Phil Davis was in a state of limbo heading into this fight, standing between gatekeeper status and, of course, a man who's defeated him twice, the champion, Vadim Nemkov. Phil Davis has put together a successful game plan. Romero desperate to try to create separation, desperate to detonate a Cuban missile, but Davis is giving him no space whatsoever in order to operate.
Hard to get a big knockout when you have no space between you. Joelle Romero in a position right now. He's got to try to separate. No time left.
Phil Davis, Mr. Wonderful, has to feel wonderful about his performance in tonight's main event. All the talk was about the debut of Joelle Romero, and yet Phil, Mr. Wonderful Davis, In the words of Roy Jones Jr.,
you all must have forgot because, man, he put together a tremendous performance. What did you think of his game plan and the way he executed it tonight?
I thought his game plan was really solid. He came out very cautious, had a high guard for the defense of the big left hand that Joelle possesses, did all the right things, and just built upon each round.
And now you know, especially on Twitterverse, one of the reasons why I'm not a part of social media, but people are going to say, what'd you expect? You expected that against a guy who hasn't fought for a year and a half and who's now 44 years old. Don't take away from what Phil Davis did here tonight.
Oh, look at Phil Davis just beat Joelle Romero in a fashion that proves how good he is. I've said it before. Look at before this fight, everyone was saying Joelle Romero was the favorite. I said no. I think Phil Davis is, and this is why. He wrestles so well in the folk styles of being in the top position. The way he was able to ride on top of Joelle, that was a difference maker in that last round. He fought a very smart and effective fight throughout.
We think the decision is academic. We also know that this is mixed martial arts. Let's go to the fight stats, John. And hey, I know that sometimes you feel the numbers lie in terms of these stats. What do you make of this?
No, this is close to accurate. When I'm looking at them saying that, oh, the kicks, look, when a kick is checked, that's not a kick that landed, but 59 strikes.
And look at this number.
And that's the,
wow.
Look at the bottom, 5 takedowns to 0. Before this fight, nobody would have said that that was the way it was going to be.
In the words of the loonies from the Bay Area, Phil Davis had 5 on it when it came to takedowns, perhaps the most surprising stat against Joelle Romero. Will Phil Davis bounce back after having his 3-fight win streak snapped against the current champion Vadim Nemkov? It sure looks that way from my vantage point. Joelle Romero pleading his case. Romero saying that he thought it was 5 rounds? Oh, wow. Of course, in the UFC, main events, 5 rounds, but here only the title fights are 5 rounds, and man, Joelle Romero should have known that. Let's get it up to Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, having gone the distance, we'll go to your 3 judges. Your first judge at cage side, Ron McCarthy, scores the fight 30-27. He sees it for Davis. Your second judge, Jaron Vallel, scores the fight 29-28, scoring it for Romero. Your third and final judge at cage side, Michael Bell, scores the fight 30-26 for the winner by split decision, Phil, Mr. Wonderful.
Even Joelle Romero knows that the decision should have been academic.
Wait, you're a monster.
Great respect between these 2 warriors, but I told John McCarthy, the decision should be academic, but this is MMA. One judge giving it to Joelle Romero. Hey, the night belongs to Phil, Mr. Wonderful Davis. A perfect 5-0 here at the Shark Tank. Let's go to BJM.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with the winner, Phil Davis. Phil, that was a beautiful performance. You kept building on each round. There was no way that that was a split decision. That was an easy win, unanimous decision for you. How are you feeling going against a guy with the power of Joelle, the style? How are you feeling right now?
Man, he's a monster. I felt that power more times than I wished I had tonight. He's an incredibly powerful fighter.
When you talk, one of the things that you were doing very well, I thought, is he started hitting you with leg kicks, but then you started checking him, and he actually slowed down. Could you feel that when you were out there?
Yeah, I felt that, and it didn't quite give me enough security. You know, I felt like he was in the end of the second round, he was just starting to slow down just a tad bit. So I felt that's kind of what I felt, not necessarily the checks, but.
All right, I got to tell you, I'm always talking to you about wrestling, and you have this wrestling ability. Phil, are you going to wrestle? You told me, John, I'm going to wrestle, I promise. Let's talk about the 3rd round, because you took him down 5 times in that fight.
Whew. Yeah, got to use the wrestling. God bless wrestling, best sport in the world. And you know what, John, I got something that I want to share with you. 6 years ago, I was making my Bellator debut right here in San Jose. And I absolutely forgot. It's one of my biggest mistakes ever. I forgot to encourage one of my best friends, training partners, roommates, teammates at Penn State. He was in the hospital with cancer, and I forgot to encourage him. He ended up losing his battle with cancer. Now, I want to rectify that moment by just saying that my mom and dad are tremendous. They are everything that I wish the mom and dad could be, and they're just wonderful. Last September, 2 weeks before my fight with Lyoto Machida, my mom calls me and tells me she has malignant breast cancer. So she had to go and get that taken care of. Exactly 3 days later, my father told me he had aggressive prostate cancer. And then 2 weeks later, I had to fight the Dragon. And I really had to dig deep in a number of ways. And I just want to say to my mom and dad, they're still, by God's grace, they are still here. My mother's in the crowd. My father's at home staring at the TV crying. I love you guys, and I cannot do this without you. You guys are amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Phil Davis.
Wait a second, ladies and gentlemen. One more thing. It's always been my honor, my pleasure to leave a party before the lights come on. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to take this moment to thank everybody that works for Bellator, Scott Coker, everyone that makes this traveling circus happen. I absolutely love you guys. I love fighting for you guys. Thank my sponsors. If you've never been through a pandemic, which I suspect all of you have, if you're an athlete, it's incredibly hard if you don't have sponsors. You don't have any money coming in. Very difficult time. So I want to thank all my sponsors. I love you guys, and I couldn't have made it without you. Last but not least, my beautiful wife, I love you, and I thank you for always supporting me and chasing my hopes and dreams. And to my two boys at home, PJ and Teddy, I told you I was going to rock it like rocket fuel. What's up?
Ladies and gentlemen who are on your feet, give it up for Mr. Wonderful, Phil Davis.
It is nights like this and interviews like that that make me so proud and blessed to be a part of this incredible sport. An emotional night, and the fights just as good as many of the interviews in the cage with Big John McCarthy and Phil Davis. Let's hope that one day we will KO cancer, as he is now celebrating with members of his family and the family of these fighters making the ultimate sacrifice, and the nerves. And there's his mother. What a scene. It is all about family in the end, and here at Bellator MMA, we are family. And Phil Davis, an amazing performance, and he remains perfect here in San Jose, and that would be a picture-perfect photo, no filter required. Again, a tremendous night, as always, here at the Shark Tank. By far, you know, boxing, the Punch Bowl in Carson, California is my venue. When it comes to MMA, it's hard to beat San Jose. Let's go back to Jen Brown at the fight desk.
Well, thanks, Mauro. Hey, amazing performance there by Phil Davis, but he's an amazing human being. Phil Davis, a class act, one of my favorite fighters in terms of his nickname shouldn't be Mr. Wonderful. It should be like Mr. Nice Guy. He's just such a fantastic person, and I'm so happy for him. Josh, let's talk about his performance tonight.
Before we get into the performance, so people need to understand that all athletes, not just MMA fighters that I'm talking about, but all athletes are dealing with stuff at home. And when they get in there, it's not always the easiest thing to do, to lay it on the line in front of thousands and thousands of people, and even millions even maybe at home watching. He's been through a lot. I'm glad to see him get the credit due to his family, his parents, raising him. They raised a wonderful person. An absolute great human.
If you think about the storylines in a lot of these fights tonight, you know, like you said, these athletes, you guys go through so much. A lot of times we don't even learn about it until after you fought, and it's pretty phenomenal to think that, you know, with all the things that you could be going on, and everybody at home is going, but to be able, it's an example of how, you know, when things are tough, you can still, you know, persevere, push through, and it's, you know, it feels good to see the good guy get the win tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he is a great guy. He's a great human being. I've been friends with him for years. He's a great human being. I'm glad he got the win tonight. Great performance. But let's talk about his wrestling. His wrestling is really what was key, you know. And when I talk about his wrestling, it was the very first takedown. You could tell he shot it with no confidence. And when he shot it with no confidence, there was no setup. And that's what I mean by no confidence. Wrestlers and fighters, when they try to use their wrestling, they shoot raw dog. They shoot with no setups, no punching, no feints. He shot that way the first time, didn't get in, easily defended. Second time, he did it off the combination, got the takedown. Beautiful transition to the double leg, boom, right off the strikes. Then after that, it was all about confidence. He knew he could get it. He pressed him to the fence, and once he pressed him to the fence, boom, he was just locking the hands, lifting and slamming. Textbook takedowns after that. For Phil Davis, it's all about the confidence. If he can see that he can get one early, if he can get it early, that'll lead to getting them more often.
What statement did he make tonight?
I thought he made a huge statement. I think he realized, he talked about, hey, I gotta get back to the title. But what do you gotta do to get back to the title, Phil? Use your wrestling.
And he did.
Okay? And that's the thing. I think the more he utilizes it, the more these other fighters will not be able to keep up with him. But he's got to do it off of his strikes like he did in the second takedown. He looked phenomenal after that.
Let's talk about the takedowns. He secured 5 takedowns. Is that something before the fight that you thought would be the number in front of Phil Davis tonight at the end of the night?
Yeah, I look, I never thought he was going to get 5, but I thought he was going to get at least 1 or 2 off of the transitions. And the fact is once he got one, he started building that confidence, and that confidence led to just keeping the pressure, keeping the pace. And he knows that he can ride heavy. So when he rides heavy, he gets on top, he starts sitting on the hips. He started riding on Joelle Romero. Joelle Romero was stuck off the bottom like a turtle off his back. And he's explosive. He was able to get out a couple times. But when he did that, he locked his hands and lifted back up and set him back to the ground. Nicely done by Phil Davis, and the confidence grew every step, every takedown.
Let's real quick. He's already fought the champ twice. Who do you think he should face next?
Look, that's not my call. You're putting me in a bad position right now, Jen Brown. I know what you're saying. I'm not playing Scott Coker. Oh, I like my job. No, but I really believe that whoever loses out of the Corey Anderson, if he ends up losing, I think he should fight Corey. But Corey's really, really good. Him and Ryan Bader, I think, is going to be a great fight.
A lot of options. Hey, a great night tonight, huh? These fights.
This is my home.
Stacked, top to bottom. It always delivers here.
If I'm here, I love it here. I love it here.
All right, well, if you guys at home missed any portion of tonight's fights, well, you can run it back. We've got you covered. You can check your local listings, find replays of Bellator MMA on Showtime and Showtime Extreme. Well, Bellator MMA will return to your screen Friday, October 1st, live from London with a rematch packing more heat than the Big Smoke City itself. Well, MVP will get a second crack at the former welterweight champion and Douglas Lima. Well, up next, join us for an encore episode of Showtime's new original series, American Rust, starring the award-winning Jeff Daniels and Maura Tierney. Well, that does it for us up here at the Fight Desk. Great job, Josh Thompson. What an incredible night of Bellator MMA fights. And we are going to head back down for a final thought from Mauro Ranallo. Mo?
My final thought is Mamma Mia! Another memorable night of MMA here at the Shark Tank. Ben Parrish making a shocking Bellator MMA debut, knocking Christian Edwards from the ranks of the undefeated. Georgi Karahanyan, Saul Rogers meeting at 155, and it was the Hangman hanging a loss around the neck of Georgi Karahanyan. A special night for Deanna Bennett, fighting in her favorite building, honoring her deceased father as she dominated Alejandra Lara for the biggest win of her career. And then Naaman Gracie against Mark Leminger. Gracie striking the story of the night as he records the first knockout of his career. And then in the main event, Phil Davis spoiled Joelle Romero's Bellator MMA debut. Mr. Wonderful was wonderful. For Big John McCarthy and the rest of our crew, I'm Mauro Ranallo. Good night.